Hey y'all, good morning. What's up, bigger? What's going on? Good morning, Angry. Hello, good morning, everybody. What's up? Y'all jumping in quick today. Thank you, I appreciate that. Get that algorithm juice flowing right there. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you for that. What is up? Good morning, everybody. Big Error, thank you. I appreciate you, buddy. Good morning, everybody. Hello. Good morning, good morning. What is happening? What is up? What is going on? How do you? How do? Howdy. What's up? What's up? Howdy. What's up? Good morning, everybody, and welcome back once again to the morning show with the most go. The Kingdom of the Apostate Ape. The greatest of the great ape master debates, where every single day nearly we come on up here and we master debate the Christian's brains out. We have a lot of fun along the way doing all that. So welcome in. This is the channel where you can watch an undereducated hick from Alabama perform an intellectual takedown of the Christian faith, doctrine, and logic for your entertainment. Good morning, Queen. Good morning. So welcome in. We also do this to make the world a better place, to combat the rise of this ridiculous ass Christian nationalism and cult mentality that rots the brains of otherwise intelligent people. So it's pretty sad. Anyway, as usual, if you are watching this as a replay on my YouTube channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. Throw me a like on that video. That really helps support the channel here on that end. Also, don't forget, our best friend on this channel is Dr. Joshua Boeing. That's right. Dr. Josh, the man himself, is our big homie. Anyway, he sells amazing books like these where you yourself can learn ancient Hebrew. I've been learning it. And if I can do it, about anybody can do it. It's really not even that hard, honestly. There's not many letters. Like, this is perfectly suitable for the average person to learn, I think. It's not crazy. But if you're not interested in learning an ancient language, you can also just learn some, Hebrew Bible doctrine and battles against apologetics and such. Because his books, the Atheist Handbook to the Old Testament, Volume 1 and 2, are geared toward combating Christian apologetics, specifically with scholarly knowledge. So you can be a very well-informed, debater like me. Anyway, also, don't forget, Huntsville, Alabama, this October, it's going down. You can have... Thank you so much. I ain't never seen that before. That was awesome, though. Thank you. I hadn't seen that one. But anyway, Rocket City Reason Conference is going down, Huntsville, Alabama, this October, the 23rd, the 24th, and 25th. And you can come hang out with some of the biggest names and atheist debaters out there. I mean, super famous folks in the atheist world. Like Thinker, Forrest Valcog, Gutsy Gibbon, the Godless Engineer, of course. Seth Andrews is a keynote speaker. Black Atheist Rant's going to be there. It's going to be awesome. You can get your tickets for that on rocketcityreason.com. So here we go today. This is we'll just start calling it episode now that I've broken the in a row streak. So 100 days in a row. Yesterday was, we'll just call it episode 101, even though it's actually episode. If you're going by episodes, it's more like 140 or so, 140 or 50. But, yeah, it'll be awesome. What did it say? Well, yeah, it'll be awesome. You'll like it, I think. North Alabama, it's going down. One of the fastest growing economy cities in the country right now. For some reason or another. But anyway, this is day episode, we'll just call it 102 then, since we're going from an offshoot here. But yeah, what up, guys? We are getting the day started. Episode 102 is going down. We'll call it episodes from now on, I reckon, since in a row's kind of out the window. Do you understand Trinity? Understand it don't make any sense, like the most of this religion, unfortunately. Trinity's weird, man. Doesn't make no sense unless you just accept a logical, incoherent position on it. Well, that's cool. That's cool. Anyway, welcome in, everybody. What up? What up? We are just getting this day started. Just fired up alive. And like most days, I would imagine yeah. Shoot, I forgot I was saying there. I read a comment. Anyway, we are firing off episode 102 here on Apostate Ape channel. So, any moment now, I imagine we'll get some guests requesting up in here. And we will get this day started with some enthralling debates, I would imagine. Got some pretty good, got a chock full of topics up here today. I got, why should we trust the Bible when it has so many problems? That's a pretty good one, right? God is unjust, of course, the most popular of all. Does God condone slavery? That one comes up a good bit. Is Christianity an emotion-based religion? This is kind of a new one here. I had a little argument with that. I thought I ripped somebody pretty good on, so we stuck that one in there. Jesus fulfills zero prophecy. How is he the prophesied Messiah? How can this possibly be? Anyway, those are the topics for today. If you are a Christian and you are capable if you are capable of a conversation like an adult, then we would love to talk to you. No deal. Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, we'll see if we can start wrangling in the first guest of the day here. Not a demon. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate y'all guys. We'll get that algorithm hot and bothered this morning. Yes, it is day 102, just not day 102 in a row anymore. It's actually 103 days that we started that, but had to take a sick day on Sunday, so not in a row anymore. But this is episode 102 here. We'll start calling it episodes, I reckon. Just branch off that ideal there. Anyway, if y'all don't mind, y'all tap that screen for me. Keep with the comments and the repost there. Reposts help a lot. Also, throwing a comment in there, saying hi, stuff like that. Helps pump us out into the algorithm, get us somebody in here to talk to. And gifts definitely help the most, so I really, really appreciate those. When you give TikTok money, it turns out they prioritize you somewhat decently and push you in there, so I really, really appreciate that. But even if you're not doing nothing, even if you're just here, that is much appreciated and does help very much. And I appreciate the living shit out of it. Thank you for that error. That was awesome. Thank you again. Shoot, I appreciate you. I do what I can, man. We got a lot of work to do out here in the world to combat the rise of the brain rot religions, unfortunately. And again, that's what happens when you accept positions based on faith and emotion and not facts and data. Anyway, welcome in. Good morning, everybody. We haven't even been on 10 minutes yet, so waiting on the first guest of the day to debate with us. So let's see. Algorithm's moving along, so that's cool, I guess. Maybe we got somebody here, perhaps. Let's see. Let's give it a shot. Hey, Hans, you there? Hans?
Yeah.
Hey,
Hello,
you over 18?
how are you?
All right, are you over 18?
Huh?
Are you over 18?
Yeah,
Awesome. Are you a Christian or a Hebrew Israelite?
I can say I'm a Christian. I'm just a believer, but I
A
can say
believer
I'm
in
a
what?
former Christian. Huh?
Oh, you're a former Christian.
Yeah, what I can say, don't trust the Bible because, first of all, it was imposed.
Yeah, I hear you, buddy. Sorry, we're just looking to debate Christians in here, man. I give the reasons not to listen to the Bible around here. We'll read it to him. I don't know what he meant by that, but anyway, he said he was a former Christian, so. Well, me too. Thanks for joining us in reality, man. But really just looking to debate Christians or Hebrew Israelites sometime. Anyway, all right, let's see. Where'd that go to? All right, well, algorithm's moving a little bit. It's moving a little bit. Just a tad this morning. Anyway, what is up, guys? It is Tuesday, episode 102 coming in. So please, if you are a Christian or a Hebrew Israelite, join up and be the first guest of the day. First oppositional guest, that is. Just looking for opposition. If you're a friendly, that's super cool. But we try to keep it to debates, if that's acceptable. All right. Well, debates are conversates, but oh yeah, I did just got a debate. There we go. We can just call it a conversation too, though. It ain't no big thing there. Thank you, Pseudo versus Science. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. We just got this live fired up today. Barely been 12 or 13 minutes here, something like that. Not too long, so. Waiting on the first opposition guest of the day. Well, I already had one, so I'm kind of sipping on this one. These are just a little tweaker thing. They're just little low dose B12 shots, is all they are. In my line of work, you can't get all jittery and drink them. I don't drink like energy drinks and Monster. I just, like I said, I just like these because they're a little bit of B12, little low dose B12 shot. They just kind of make you feel like you're awake a little bit more or something. They don't really pep you up or nothing like that, I don't think. I like them though. I drink one every morning like a cup of coffee. Yeah, combos are cool. I mean, those are fun. I actually usually put it up there. It's obviously not like a formal debate kind of stage up here anyway. I am debater and moderator. So I gotta like stick to my own rules and shit, you know. Anyway, good morning. Maybe we got somebody in here. Oh, okay. What does that say? Sylvanus, I think. Sylvanus, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Awesome, awesome. Are you over 18?
Yes, I'm 29.
Cool. And you're one of the Christians or Hebrew Israelites?
No, I was the person that was saying kind of just want to have a combo. Just because
Oh, well,
to me, I was
combos are fine, but we just talk to opposition though.
okay,
If
yeah,
you're not a
because
Christian, or
I was gonna say I was raised to attempt to be aggressively Christian, and it never stuck because all that seemed like to me was that it was a toxic community.
well, it probably is. But yeah, we're just looking to talk with Christians though, if you don't mind.
Okay, not a problem. Have a nice day.
You too. Thanks. Thanks for coming up,
Mm.
and thanks for using your brain there. We always like those. Anyway, let's see here. Well, I've had two friendlies come up, but we are looking for some opposition here. It's a different point of view from the Christian or Hebrew Israelites. We talk to a Hebrew Israelite every now and then. Last one I talked to was seriously racist. and didn't seem to have the slightest problem with slavery, which is fucking scary. Anyway, good morning, doctor. What's up? Good morning, everybody. Hello. If you are a Christian or Israelite, come on up. Be the first guest of the day here. We're having a little, well, the algorithm, it's moving. But haven't got anybody to talk to yet. Usually got somebody by now, but actually these days we've been pushing it too right about now, so it's actually kind of normal, I guess. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Those gifts help. They help. TikTok likes those. So do I, coincidentally. I like them too. I really, really, really appreciate the support. Really, really appreciate it, y'all. You can show my B12. Oh, damn it. My lip still hurts. It's not as bad as it was yesterday, though. So you're not a former Christian. If you left the faith, you were never a born-again Christian. Yeah, we literally have that every day. Even though nonsense as it is. Yep. That's why I always put that up there. That's, for some reason, that's a major, major trigger to Christians. For some reason, they think there's no such thing as a... You can't leave the cult once you join. Like, that's what they say, I think. Anyway, got some cool... We got a new topic up here today. It's one of those little interesting ones I've thrown in there. It's pretty cool. And that one is is Christianity an emotion-based religion? I clearly think it is. I'm a former Christian because I left the faith, even though I was one for over 2 decades. And I left because of the immense problems of the Bible and the evil atrocities that God inflicts on people. Just, the contradictions. It gets history wrong, it gets science wrong, it gets its own theology wrong. There's not one person talking in this book. This is a whole bunch of people talking against each other in some cases. So, it gets a little rough out there. Alright, let's see. Maybe we got somebody here. I think. This is recent. I wonder. Hey, Coach, are you there?
Hello, brother. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, buddy? You're over 18 and you're a Christian, ain't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, on both of those, you're a Christian and over 18?
Sorry. I am a Christian. I'm 30 years old.
Okay, cool. So which one of these topics you want to talk about today, bud?
Is God unjust?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. What do you define as justice?
Justice is getting what you deserve for something you did. Justice is fairness, basically. It's getting what you deserve.
Do you think justice should be individualized or it can be in a group? For example, if a child is born in a family where the father is a powder user, that child will suffer the consequences of the father.
Yeah, but it's a consequence, not a punishment.
Yeah, but it becomes a punishment if the father now literally maybe creates an environment where it's gonna abuse the child and everything.
So you're saying there is cases where it can be justified that the son is punished for the sins of the father?
No, I'm saying there is a situation where if you are born in an unjust world, then you will not avoid the consequences. Or if you live in a group of people or in a group of community where a punishment comes to those people, it will affect you whether you like it or not.
Yeah, that would be an unjust punishment, though. Consequence is one thing. Consequences happen, but being punished for something somebody else did, that's not justice, that's injustice.
Okay, so what is punishment? Do you think punishment should be individualized?
Yeah, and I think the punishment should also fit the crime.
Okay. So
like,
what
for
do you
example,
define?
David sinned with Bathsheba. He committed rape or adultery with Bathsheba. So God struck the child that David had. He unalives the baby, and the baby didn't have nothing to do with that.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Do you think that if the father is an addict, does the child has to suffer the consequences of this father being an addict?
Yeah, that's not justice. No, I don't think that's justice. I don't even think the Bible thinks that's justice.
Okay, but do you get what I'm trying to say? Because what I'm trying to show you is because of someone getting a punishment, you in that space you can suffer the consequences of that person's punishment or wrath. That's what I'm
You
trying to
can, but
point
that's not
out.
justice. Yeah, that's not justice.
I do
If
agree
David
with you,
sins,
sir.
David should be the one punished for that sin, not the baby.
That's why I'm saying I do agree with you on that part. But what I'm trying to paint is a
Oh,
scenario.
okay.
Yeah, it's a scenario where a justice is served on someone, but because you are in the same room with that person, you suffer the consequences of that person's punishment. That's what I'm trying
Yeah,
to
that's not
say.
justice. Yeah, that's not just.
I do agree with you. It's not justice, sir, but the justice is for that
Oh, okay.
person
Well, then we
who.
agree. God's unjust. So I mean, I don't know what you're trying to say
No, no,
now.
no. I'm saying that the person who committed the 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 act is being punished, but because you are in the same room with that person, you suffer the consequences of the just punishment that is directed to that person. Do you get what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah, but I don't get your
Yes.
point.
So in this case, the punishment was directed to the father. You
No, he didn't
understand?
get punished. The baby did.
No, no, no. David did get punished. I'm saying the
No, he
punishment
didn't.
was
What was David's
direct.
punishment?
One of these punishment was that after that his kingdom was going to be taken away, and then the second thing is that he was invaded by outsiders. Yeah, and then he also his kingdom also he had to
Well,
go
in
and
this
ask
case
for
here, the
forgiveness.
sin that David committed with Bathsheba, it literally says that the Lord has put away David's sin. He punished 10 of David's wives and the baby for what David did. So
Yeah,
David
but
didn't
if you
get no
read
punishment for this. It literally says he
yeah,
put his sin away.
yeah, but if you go and read the whole story, you will understand that at some point, David's kingdom, you understand, he was invaded. You understand? So his punishment was not directed at this incident, but it happened later on. You understand? That's what I'm trying to show to
Yeah, but it
you.
don't have nothing to do with what I'm talking about. It's a different time.
Yeah, but just because you are
I'm gonna
punished
say
on a
something.
different time, it doesn't mean
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you were over 18 and a Christian, wasn't you, Ryan?
Yeah. I was wrong. I was on yesterday. I
Yeah.
am Christian, but I'm also agnostic. I consider myself a true Christian because I don't believe God is unjust. Because the Bible, I don't believe that's his true teaching. I believe the Bible. Who wrote the Bible? Man wrote the Bible. And the Bible was technically made to keep minority and the weak in line, if you really think about it. Because God's and Jesus' word is actually all about love, equality, and respect for each other. That's the true
Did you say
teaching
God's
of
word?
God and Jesus. Yes. Because I
Well,
mean,
where'd you get that teaching
man
from?
wrote the Bible. Man wrote the
I know.
Bible. God didn't
That's
write
why
the
I don't
Bible.
believe any of it because it's got too many problems. Yeah.
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 Right.
So where are you getting all this
So
from if
and and,
not from the
and
Bible?
that's just it. I've read the Bible and I can't agree with most of it because it's extremely misogynistic. And it's all about man having control. It's not
Right.
about God's control or God's will.
So
No,
if
it's about
if
the
the true
man.
message of Jesus and God, hold on, if the true message of Jesus and God is love, where are you getting that from if not from the Bible?
From my own beliefs. I
So
don't
you're
believe
just making it
God.
up yourself.
Yes and no. I've taken certain scriptures from the Bible and any of the other scriptures that I feel are extremely misogynistic or controlling. It's been a while since I'll admit it's been a while since I've read up on the Bible, because I can't I can't go by any or most of the word, because it goes against my beliefs, because I mean I don't believe God actually condoned slavery. I can't believe that, because I don't know. Man,
Well,
I
I mean,
know that.
well, I'm glad you don't believe the Bible because it's not true. But I mean, just
Right.
if you just made up your own religion, like, I'm fine with that. We're not going to disagree on too much, I don't think.
I don't think I've made up my own religion. I'm more than one.
More than
I
one what?
believe in more than one religion.
Yeah.
I
So
believe
you're like
in
mixing some
multiple
together.
things. Yeah, something like that. I'm also
That's cool.
agnostic.
Well, I wouldn't call yourself a Christian though. That's just confusing.
Yeah. It is. It's confusing. It's like it. That's why I've always had such an open mind.
Oh, that's cool.
And
No issues there.
yeah.
But yeah, it don't sound like we disagree too much, man. Probably not too
All
much
right.
to talk about.
Yeah. All right. I just wanted to get my word out there.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thanks for coming up though, buddy. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Here, I'll drop you back there. All right, well, where are we at? 2070, 399. Algorithm's a little bit laggy. Huh. I wonder why we. It's been weird ever since the hiccup, but what else? I guess. Yeah, all right. Well, oh, here's Coach, but I don't know what happened with Coach the other time. I don't know what happened. Oh, hey, man.
Yeah, I was trying to finish my point. I was saying to you that the reason why was the child struck? The child
Because
was
of what
struck.
David did.
Yes, that's why I'm saying. So in this instance, the punishment was directed at the father, because we know that if you're a father and you lose a child, it's the most painful thing that can ever happen to you as the father.
In Deuteronomy 24, it says, "The parents shall not be put to death for their children, nor shall the children be put to death for their parents. Only for their own crimes may persons be put to death." So, like, what happened
Yes.
with that?
Yeah, remember that was a law. You
Yeah.
understand?
So why
That
don't God
was
follow his own law?
the law was not given to God; it was given to man.
Oh, so God can do whatever he wants, right?
Yeah, he can actually. In
Yeah, well,
the
that's not
book of
justice, it's evil. If he can lay down some moral laws and he doesn't even follow them, then there's no reason to follow this God, because he's a bad example to follow.
No, it's because the law is not given to God. God is the lawgiver. So
It
therefore,
doesn't matter. I'm not listening. Why would I listen to somebody that says killing babies is wrong and then turns around and smashes a baby to pieces?
yeah, that's why you have a choice of whether you wanna follow God or
Yeah.
not. You
Yeah, I'm
understand?
not. This is evil. Like, why would I? I don't worship baby murdering gods,
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to
especially
say.
unjust ones. If a god isn't even just, he's not worth worshiping. And this God is definitely not just. I don't even
Yeah,
think you think he's just.
that's why I'm saying, if you give birth to a child, that child, you will become the father. There's no way the father can now become a child. You understand? And the child becomes the father. You understand? That's why I'm saying the law was not given to God. The mere fact that you feel like your father is mistreating you, that does not change the fact that he's the father. You understand?
So
So
it
what
doesn't
I'm
mean he
trying
can
to
do
show
whatever he
to you
wants
is,
either.
yes, you are questioning things that you cannot change. That's the thing.
Well, I'm questioning why people worship a God who smashes babies to pieces for no reason.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying that in which instant did God smash the babies without a reason? Because
Huh?
the David one, we have already passed it. Oh, I'm
The
saying
baby didn't do anything. The baby was innocent. It's a baby, an infant.
yes, that's what I'm saying to you. That let me give you another example that you can relate. During the World WA, isn't it? What the United States did to Hiroshima when they dropped that whatever. Do you think it was justice according to you?
No.
What the Americans that time thought it was justice, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they thought it did. I don't think it was.
Yes, that's why you are still celebrating those days and the win and everything. It
Am I
is there.
celebrating something that I didn't like?
I'm talking about the nation. I'm not talking about you as an individual.
When do we celebrate that?
No, I'm saying that thing is there in your history and it's celebrated as a victory.
And when do we celebrate that?
No, when I say I don't mean like you have a specific day where you go out and chant. I'm saying it's still
You're saying we're
celebrated.
celebrating it, and I'm asking you
Yes,
when.
it's celebrated in your country as a victory against the people,
When?
right?
When do we celebrate this?
Oh, maybe it's because English is my second language. Maybe I'm trying to say to you that thing is in your archive. It's seen as a victory, and people
Yeah.
appreciate it. The nation appreciate it, right?
Right. Yeah, it ended the war.
So that's what I'm trying to say. You see, now they see it as justice, the nation.
Well, they justified it by ending the war, but that doesn't mean it's just. And it doesn't mean that God
So did
unaliving
the
babies is
children,
just either.
did the innocent people not suffer the consequences of being part of that government?
Yeah, unjustly.
And if it's unjustly, then why is it celebrated as a victory in your national
I just
archive?
told you because they ended a war. That's what they used to justify it. But that don't mean that a whole city of civilians being unalived was actually just.
So you are saying just because it ended the war, then it should be celebrated?
No.
So you see where I'm getting with this part now.
Not really.
So the child suffered the consequences of being in the what? He suffered the consequences of his own father and mother.
Yeah, and the book says that's not supposed to happen. But God clearly does it.
I answered you is because the law was not given to God, was given to man.
I know. You're just saying God can do whatever he wants, but that's not an acceptable answer to me. I'm not worshiping the baby murdering God. Like it's not happening. You can't justify this.
But you are in United States that unalive people and you are still benefiting from that.
All right. Well, if anyone else wants to come up and have a conversation, we'd love to talk to you, but I don't think that's going anywhere. Don't think that's going anywhere. But anyway, where are we at on my, let's see. Algorithm catching up a little bit there. I appreciate that, y'all. So let's see what we got here. We're going down. Host, I am not God. Yeah, no shit. I've never unalived a baby in my life. Or genocided anybody or ordered grape or child sex slavery. I've never done any of that. So no, I'm not God. I'm way better than this God is. So shut the fuck up. No, you shut the fuck up. Oh man. Anyway, if you are a Christian or a Hebrew Israelite, come on up. We would love to talk to you. We'd love to have some decent debates, conversates up in here. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Let's see. Maybe Jason's. Maybe not. Oh, I guess that was on accident there. Anyway, the queue is empty. What makes me moral is actually knowing the difference between good and bad and basing that on realistic standards and not what a book written by a Middle Eastern Bronze Age desert dweller tells us their God says is all right. Well, compass. I just told you, realistic, actual standards of things like well-being, stuff like that, happiness, health. You know, individual rights and such. Yeah, my feelings. Yeah, it's just my opinion. Yeah. And my opinion is that this baby unalivened murdering God of yours that orders rape and genocide and child sex slavery is quite evil. Just my opinion, man. Just my opinion. Pretty sure that's anybody's opinion except for some of the freaks we talked to. So you made up you're a god. What are y'all smoking? Like, what is going on here? What do you mean made your god? Like, what are you talking about? I'm not a god. I'm just a dude with an opinion. My opinion is that having women raped for nothing is quite evil, which is what your god does. So. Yeah, it must be a bot or something. I can't tell. You can't never tell with Christians if it's just a bot or they're asking the same dumb question over and over again. Anyway, if you are a Christian who is capable of a conversation like an actual adult, please come on up and have a debate with us. We got several good topics up here to go today. 5 of them, in fact. The most I've ever done, I think. Yes, I've lost my mind thinking that baby murder and grape is evil. How mine lost to me. I must be my own God for thinking such things. Oh, man. Wow, what a trip. What a trip, y'all. I got somebody here. Let's see. A lot of recent guests up today. Master at Arms, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good, but I think according to one of these topics, Bubba made a very big boo-boo when it says something about him not being prophesied, right?
Yeah.
Are you saying with that comment that Jesus is not prophesied in the Old Testament?
Not a single time. That's right.
Isaiah 7:14 says what?
It says that that the Lord is going to give King Ahaz a sign of Emmanuel, and by the time this child knows how to tell right,
Brother, who?
King Ahaz.
Brother, it doesn't say
Lord
King
to
Ahaz. Brother,
Can
you
I finish
add
the sentence?
scripture.
Like you asked me one sentence and I started to
I
answer.
know, but
and
you're
already
panicking.
interrupting
What's
me.
wrong? Look at your body language.
You're interrupting me.
Look in the mirror
on
right
my
now.
First
Look in the mirror right
fucking
now.
sentence from the first
Hey,
question
you
you
fucking
asked
wimp.
me.
What are you afraid
So
of?
could you just calm down and like maybe
Look in the
listen up
mirror
like an
right now.
adult?
You okay?
Did you hear the part where I said there's an adult? Like
Look in the mirror.
I
You
don't have a
okay?
mirror.
You on
I'm not
medication?
around a
Are you
mirror.
on medication?
All right.
You
All right.
okay,
Well,
man? You all right? You on med?
Yeah, I'm fine. You can keep asking me that, but man, what the fuck? What is wrong with people? Can we get an adult in here, please? Here, let's talk to Chosen. Let's talk to a Chosen.
Peace and love, man. What's up?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Are you over 18?
Say it again. What you say? My fault.
Are you over 18?
Yeah, hell yeah, 32. So,
I hear that's a good age.
yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I get into,
Are you one of the Christians or
I get into
Hebrew
these
Israelites?
spaces. I'm not, to be honest. Like,
Are you a Christian?
yeah, I call myself Christian.
Okay, cool.
It's certain things where even in being a Christian nowadays, you know, there's a lot of discipling that we have had to do, that we still have to do, and it's a lot of people in and higher ups who still haven't done so and whatnot. But there's certain things that I did see.
You sound a little muted all of a sudden.
Oh shit, my fault. Hold on. Let me see.
You're all right. That's actually better.
All right, cool.
So, which one of these topics you want to talk about?
So the unjust part. I know it's a lot of like when the Canaanites, what they were doing, God was never okay with that. I know the sex slavery and stuff. It got to a point of him just like never being okay with it, but having to literally move on what they was doing. There's a lot of things as they expressed through the sorry.
What exactly are we talking about?
Sorry about that.
Hello?
Yeah, sorry. So the unjust, you said, is God unjust, and how you spoke about the unaliving of infants and such and things of that nature. And God was never okay with things like that.
How come he does it then?
Well, there's a difference in like in Deuteronomy. There was kind of like it was more as of what humans aren't allowed to judge humans on type thing, and that's where it's a difference where. And then when he does do that, it was like you did say, it was almost like genocide. Like it was the whole people, and they were judged and as a wrath because of what them as a people have done to Israel to Israel, correct?
Well, the stuff God made them do, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like there's a few times where God shows his wrath. Obviously, we even talk about that in Enoch, when in certain things and why he flooded and all that. There was, what I'm saying, there's things of why. It's always a difference between God's judgment and then what God says, how us humans can treat other humans.
Right, but you're saying God just does whatever he wants, right?
I feel like it's more of a thing of a people. If it's something was said, like these people, like you're moving in this time, there was like, for instance, sorry, I don't want to just talk and you don't know what I'm talking about. For instance, there's like I said, the Canaanites.
Right.
He wanted them out of there. He been wanted them out of there. He been sending for people, sending things didn't work out. We seen in the Bible where people didn't even want to enter into that land. But there was obviously somebody who was going to. Now that was generations of that going on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it get to a point.
God gave them other people's land, and they had to go take it and unalive them all. So they stole their land and put them all to the sword, including
because Canaanites were unaliving babies, and this
so
that was their
God actually demands child sacrifice to himself from the Israelites.
Where at?
Exodus 22, verse 29. Says, you shall not delay to make offerings from the fullness of your harvest and from the outflow of your presses. The firstborn of your sons you shall give to me. You shall do the same with your oxen and with your sheep. 7 days it shall remain with its mother, and on the 8th day you shall give to me. It's clearly demanding child sacrifice, the firstborn. Same with the animals. Also, he does it in Ezekiel 20. Oh, what happened? I don't know where he went though. I guess he's reading something or something. There's the Christian excuse right there. You see it on the screen. God's God. He can do whatever he wants. God can murder all the people he wants. That's love.
I don't believe in that, because to be honest, like I said, there's certain things that I was already looking into, and I was like, he did that. He did that. And obviously, doing that, I had to do more research. I'm not, and when you called, he was like, "Yo, is you a Christian?" Like I'm almost like didn't almost answer that. Is that because that word and that name is so broadly used now? To be honest, like even religion, I don't even want to even base myself on a religion, to be honest, nowadays. But to be honest, like it's really just I'm a truth seeker. Before anything, yes, I grew up in church. I don't went to the I went to the mosque. You know what I'm saying? So it's more about really trying to understand the word, not in just one way. So that's why I've always have different outtakes on it. You know what I'm saying? I've never, like, unless people was ignorant, like getting up here like with that last dude. Oh, you see how you're acting, bro? We talking about something about let's do some history, right? We trading notes. That's what I take it as in a debate. For real, like don't get disrespectful and get weird. But
Yeah, it happens. I mean,
yeah, no,
some
but
people are just stupid. Sometimes you just got to argue with stupid for a minute and then drop them. But
yeah, nah. To me, like that's the problem. The huge problem with religion at all. Like let's get down to the text. Let's get down to what's being said and how it's being deciphered, or what what you look at it as perception as, and then how I look at it as perception. You know what I'm saying? So and see what I don't know. That's how I take it. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say, bro. Like I know sometimes certain things look like I know at certain times it was known as judgment, and certain things was like, huh? Wait, he what? So I just wanted to get up on there and that about like I said, some of the unjust stuff.
yeah. Appreciate you. So, did you land on God being just or unjust?
I'm kind of right with you, bro. Like I ain't gonna lie, he is the all making the creator. So if it's like that, where to come down to, if God has a plan for me, and somebody and you might not know the extent of my plans that God has for me. You might be getting in the way of what God has be going on. You know what I'm saying? So it get to the point of that warning. Are you getting that warning? Are you getting that warning like, hey, this is not what you're supposed to be doing? Are you not moving this? Or you're not doing this? If you're getting that, if you are a believer and you're not, yeah, I mean, it gets to the point of you. That's your own judgment. Like karma is gonna be karma, right? Something.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm not sure what you're saying though. Honestly,
I'm saying, like, regardless, if something was getting in the way of the creator's way, if something has to be done, if even say in the point of the Canaanites, and I need these people out of here. They don't need to be unaliving babies doing this X, Y, and Z. There's that karma. I need them out of there, so these people who's out here that don't deserve it can have that land. They deserve this land. They did this X, Y, and Z. Why these people, it get to the point of God making his way to do what he needs to do to put things in order. That's how I look at it. A lot of things. Some stuff, like I said, I still be like, so I'm right. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like, I'm gonna,
not sure what you're saying, honestly. but yeah, I appreciate it, man. But I'm not sure what you were saying there or what the point was. My bad. But yeah, you're just being cool and all, but definitely cooler than that one motherfucker. Then again, let's not say much in the other motherfucker's case. Anyway, the guest queue is wide open. So if you are a Christian or an Israelite, please come up and have a debate or a conversate with us about one of these topics. If you can have a conversation like an adult, that would be great. Not ask me a question and let me get 2 words into it and then start hollering and cussing. That's a what I like to call a good Christian right there. They deserve Christianity, those folks. So you can stay over there where you belong. And the upset, angry side that calls themselves the not upset, angry side. Anyway, calling all adult Christians and Hebrew Israelites, please come and have a conversation with us. That's what we're looking for here. The algorithm's actually pretty decent, so we'll get somebody in here that's good to talk to, I'm sure. I don't think you're supposed to have wrath, that is. Yeah, y'all do have wrath. It's pretty fucking sad. Claim to have the Holy Spirit calming you down and full of wrath. Like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, let me join the religion of wrath. That'll be great. Sign me up. I got a whole lot of wrath I need to take out. Yeah. Hey, if you want to talk, come on up and talk, buddy. Well, you can square me out and show everybody how crazy I am right here in public in front of everybody. It'd be great, wouldn't it? Yes. Anyway, no wait at the moment. The queue is wide open, so if you want to talk, come on up, man. Let somebody come up and let's have a conversation. Got a whole bunch of good topics up here today. Really interesting ones. Number 4 is Christianity an emotion-based religion? Well, according to dude down here, it's a wrath-based religion. Yeah, that sounds fun. Sign me up for the wrath religion there. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, that's the good stuff there. Join Christianity and be full as fuck of wrath like all these guys down here. Do you think Christians don't have a wrath? Christians got a lot of things. Anywho, we have, let's see, shit, I still got a while I can be on, so minimum at least an hour, shit, only 2.5, a couple hours at least if I can, 2.5 hours. We got a while. So, if they only had a brain. Believe me or burn, that's the love, yep. Like the love. Wide open guest queue right now. So if you are a Christian who's capable of an adult conversation, we would love to debate with you. It's always fun, always a good time. Today's been a little rough so far. It's hard to, been on almost an hour and I haven't had a really good linear conversation. We have seen some more Christian psychos though. Those are always fun, aren't they? The wrathful Christians, according to the Baptists down here. Which is pretty fucking hilarious. Pretty hilarious. Although not hilarious. It's a bad joke, really. Still pretty funny. Might as well enjoy it, right? Wide open queue. No wait at the moment. Wide open queue. No wait at the moment. Come on through. Sometimes they can, some of them can't, but obviously some of them can't. Spiral the fuck out and then ask you if you're the one on medications. It's a very religious thing to do there. Be crazy, call everybody else crazy. That's the religious way. Yeah, welcome in everybody. What's up? It is episode 102. It's more like day 103 actually. I had to take a sick day on Sunday, so I broke my streak after 100 days because I was sick. I was sneezing my ass off. My nose was running. Felt poopy as shit on Sunday. It was pretty rough. He's the Messiah because God sent his only son to live a perfect life and die for our sins. That's what they say. Whatever that means. Wow, stock market's not doing good. It's doing a lot better than it should be. Anyway. I don't think Queer Sunflower is a real person there. Or, I mean, opposition. What is up? What is up? Yes, Jesus was a liar and a fraud, yes. He didn't fit a single messianic prophecy. He made up his own false prophecies. Many faults with this man, Jesus. Somebody wants to come up and talk about it, we certainly can. And we would certainly like to. A messianic, Jewish believe in Messiah, but don't its free will. Not sure what that means. Anyway, maybe we'll get somebody here. Let's see. Guess that's Fanica. I don't know.
Hello?
Fanica, you there?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah. What's up, man? Are you over
Yeah.
18?
Yeah, so here I see that it says Jesus fulfills zero prophecy. How is he the prophesied Messiah?
Yeah. So you're over 18 and a Christian, you said?
Yeah, can you read for me Zechariah 9:9-10?
Yeah, I've actually got it memorized.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it says, shout aloud, O daughter Zion. Or wait, it says, actually, maybe I don't get it memorized. Something, shout aloud, O daughter Jerusalem, your king comes to you, triumphant and victorious is he, humble, riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. He shall cut off the war horse from Ephraim and the war horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall command peace to the nations, and his dominion shall be from the sea to the river to the ends of the earth.
And from sea to sea as well.
Right.
Okay, so but before I told you this verse, I really looked to see if there is any person, any king before Jesus that fulfills it better. There absolutely is not. So
Yeah, well, Jesus absolutely doesn't fulfill it. There's a lot more to that prophecy than riding a donkey, you know?
I'm sorry, but he does fulfill the prophecy better than any king before him.
How does he fulfill that prophecy?
Okay, so first, which I can back it up. Yes, first one is the riding on the donkey. That's an easy one. Okay.
Yeah, anybody can do that. Yeah.
But they did not. I'm sorry, but they
Lots
did
of people
not.
rode a donkey into Jerusalem. Yeah.
I'm sorry. There was no king before Jesus of Jerusalem that.
Jesus wasn't a king.
But okay, now I'm going to the second point about being a king. Now, after everything that happened in the Bible, we, the Christians, 2 billion persons, we accept him as our king. Okay? So, in a way, he fulfills it in the spiritual way. Okay?
So he fulfills it spiritually.
Yeah. The second one, he fulfills it spiritually. And also to reign from sea to sea. Again, there is no king before Jesus of Israel that reigned from sea to sea, because Jerusalem, Israel never was a super power like America or I don't know any of the others. So the only one, I mean, maybe you can show me like a point or two in this verse that he doesn't fulfill, but anyway, but
yeah, literally the only thing he does fulfill realistically is riding a donkey.
Yeah, but still, if you could tell me,
Luke even says this prophecy doesn't happen.
I'm sorry, if you can tell me any person on the Bible before Jesus that fulfills it better than him.
Nobody fulfills this prophecy, not a single person. Certainly not Jesus.
I'm sorry, so you want to say that this prophecy just didn't apply to anyone?
Yeah, the Messianic age in the Old Testament never came. They're still like Orthodox Jews.
Okay. So look. Let's say Messiah didn't come yet, and he needs to come. Are you trying to tell me that in this day and age there is gonna come a guy riding on a donkey to Jerusalem,
No,
and
this is
then
never going to happen. No.
that's never gonna happen first.
Mm-mm.
So riding the donkey into Jerusalem is never gonna happen.
Somebody can ride a donkey into Jerusalem, but as far as being the anointed king of
Yeah.
Jerusalem and ending all war in Israel and commanding peace to a
Okay.
worldwide empire, yeah, that's
Okay,
never going to happen.
and also, could it be? Do you believe there is a big chance that that person that will come to Jerusalem and be king of Jerusalem would reign from sea to sea?
No.
So, okay, that's what I'm saying. From any person in the history, Jesus is the one that fulfills it better than anyone. Can we
He
agree
didn't
on that
fulfill
at
this
least?
prophecy. No.
No, why not?
Because lots of people rode a donkey into Jerusalem. That's
Okay,
the same thing
okay,
Jesus
okay.
did. So they
But
literally did the
lots.
same thing. So
You-
there was tons of people that
Okay.
filled this just as well as Jesus did.
Okay,
because
okay,
they rode
okay,
a donkey.
okay. To make it fair, because you said there's lots of people that rode a donkey into Jerusalem. I'm not saying name me a king. I'm not gonna say name me a king who did that. But please name me any king or any prophet or any historical figure. I'm sorry, my English is not that good. Any historical person with relevance that did it.
Nobody did it. I've already said that.
So nobody did it. But there is one person who
No.
did it, right?
No, there's not.
Didn't Jesus
No.
do it?
No, he rode a donkey. That is not fulfilling Zechariah 9.
No,
To fulfill
no,
that
I'm saying
prophecy, you
no,
have to be
but
a literal king.
I'm sorry,
who
you're playing with words
ends
now.
all war.
Okay, you're playing with words.
Yeah, the words of the prophecy.
No, I'm sorry.
That's what it
Did I
says.
ask you? Did I ask
Hold
you?
on,
Did I
hold on
ask you
just a
about the
second.
donkey
Listen,
first
it
time or
says he
no?
will- Yeah, I've said he's rode a donkey 1,000 times, but there's a whole lot more to this prophecy than riding a donkey, unfortunately for Jesus. Listen, it says, he will cut off the chariot from Ephraim and the war horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off. That means you have to end war in Jerusalem. And Jesus clearly never ended any war in Jerusalem. And it says you have to command peace to the nations, from the river, from the sea to the sea, and from the river, from the ends of the earth. Jesus literally says, I did not come to bring peace to the earth. I came to bring a sword. I came to pit son against father and daughter against mother and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. Like, to be this prophecy is about a king who commands peace. Jesus did the opposite of that.
Oh,
He wasn't
so-
a king, and he didn't command any peace. He came not to bring peace. He literally says that.
Okay. Just one thing. When it says to bring peace, this is the thing. If he was actual king, like David or the other ones, what a king needs
Right.
to do, to achieve peace, in most of the time, is win wars, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. But we can, of course, think that Jesus is bringing peace by fulfilling the sacrifice for humanity, that everyone that believes in him is forgiven. So he brought also peace to us spiritually. So
That's a cute story, but this
Yes,
is
yes,
here's
but
Jesus's words right here.
so you want to tell-
Jesus himself says, "Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a
Okay.
sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against his mother, and a daughter-in-law against mother-in-law." How in the world is Jesus fulfilling a prophecy about being the Prince of Peace when
Okay.
he's clearly saying he did not come to bring peace here?
Okay. Let's say he doesn't fulfill that prophecy. Let's assume that. Okay.
Right.
And now please tell me, is that prophecy not true?
No, it's not true. It's an unfulfilled prophecy. It's not true yet, certainly.
And do you think it's gonna ever be fulfilled?
No, the covenants in the Old Testament were broken. They can't come back from that, according to God.
Okay. So okay. Now I want to ask you: are you Jew or what are you?
I'm an atheist.
Oh, you're an atheist,
Former Christian.
former Christian. Okay, my man. Have a nice day. You can interpret it as you want. I still see strong points to believe
Well, I'm
it.
reading the words that it actually says and holding it up to its own words. That's the only way, honestly, to do it.
Okay. Can we agree? But now, being honest, both of us, can we agree that the Bible does, in a lot of times, speak in a not how do I say it, in parables? Is it true or no?
Sometimes Jesus speaks in parables. Yeah.
Okay, then have a nice day.
All right. Have a good one. What is it? I don't know what the point in asking that was. Hey, here's a cool parable. This one is from Luke chapter 19. And this is what it ends with Jesus saying, "But as for these enemies of mine who did not want me to rule over them, bring them here and slaughter them in my presence." Well, there's a little cute little parable from Jesus. Good one, right? Oh, you gotta love Jesus parables. Anyway, well, that was by far the most decent conversation we've had today. So thanks for that, buddy. I appreciate that. Wish we could have actually read some Luke 19, because in Luke 19, Jesus clearly does not fulfill this prophecy. He ends up crying and blaming all the people that they didn't want peace that they were promised. So, I mean, according to Luke, this prophecy clearly didn't happen. That's kind of a bad joke, actually. Yeah. Unfortunately, they hate it when you make them stick to the words of the Bible. Like they can't stand that shit. Got to add to it most of the time and put some of that. What was the crazy lady saying yesterday? Discernment. I have discernment. You don't. So that means I can add all the shit I want to it that's not actually in there, and you can't. Oh, people are silly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was her. She called us a sodomite and left. Sodomites are people that like butt sex, right? Is that what that is? I guess that's a sodomite. I think that's what she meant by it. Anyway. Christians out there in the world capable of an adult conversation, come on up and holler at us. The last one was actually, well, that wasn't great, but it was the best one we've had so far today. That's for damn sure. So that's cool. Yeah, that was, she gave us some content, that's for sure. That's classy content we got from her there. But anyway, guest queue wide open. If you're a Christian and you are capable of a conversation like an adult, come on up and talk with us. We can be contentious and still talk like adults, I think. I mean, I can't speak for everybody. Excuse me. Algorithm's kind of okay, so. I have the truth. I don't have to back it up. So what a Christian thing to say. Quite the admission you can't back it up there. Thanks for that, though. Appreciate that, Precious. They're funny, ain't they, sometimes? Anyway, guest queue wide open, no wait at the moment. Come on up and talk with us. Let's have a good old discussion. That was good, though. Jesus fulfilling zero prophecies is actually my favorite one to talk about. But it doesn't come up quite as much. By far, the most popular subject that gets picked there obviously is the God being unjust part, which ultimately they end up agreeing with you and just saying God can do whatever he wants. So, haha, dirty atheist. Then they call that a win and start hollering, then you drop them because they wouldn't stop hollering, then they accuse you of running from them. That's how it usually goes. Not all the time, though. Every now and then we actually have some really good conversations, and makes for really good content on here. Anyway, let's see. Having a hard time getting decent conversations today for some reason, even though the algorithm's moving pretty decent. Pretty decent. Anyway, come on in, Christians. There is no wait right now. That don't happen all the time. Today's kind of rough, though. Oops, getting off some stuff there. Battle Shadow. Shadow Slayer? Is that the guy? I've been watching him when I can in the morning. He's been on in the morning sometimes. It's pretty awesome. If that's who you meant. Anyway. Ain't too sure. Yeah. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, he's really good. I like him. I really like him. But yeah, if you're a Christian, no wait in the guest box at all at the moment. You can come straight on up. I will bring you up lickety split. That is evident. I don't even understand why Christians act like they have evidence sometimes. You don't have an evidence-based religion, man. It's faith-based. You're not even supposed to have evidence. Like, your faith is supposed to be the evidence, which is sad, but that's what it's supposed to be. There ain't no evidence, and there never will be. Oh, dang. Anyway, I'm sure we'll get somebody in here before long. The algorithm is still moving, so certainly we'll get somebody to talk to here. It says there, I say so. Yep. You Xian, he wasn't a Christian. It's an accidental request, I suspect. I don't think Xian's a Christian. Yeah, Xian, if you requested up on purpose and you're a Christian, let me know in the comments, please. I didn't think you were, thought you were friendly there. Huh? Oh, cool. Yeah, no worries, buddy. I figured that was an accident. That's all right, though. If you are a Christian and you are... Oh, yeah, just drop in the comments, please. We're trying to keep it open for the Christians right now. Let's see. What a recent guest today. I wonder what was up with that. It was returning. Interesting. Anyway, come on up, Christians. The guest queue is wide open. Got all kind of good topics up in here today. I didn't even change those. Let's see. Can't ever remember where to do things at. That's too much. So, where's this one? Nope. I can't ever remember where the... where's this one? That's fix. Fix. Here we go. All right, we'll jump back to this one. Yeah. Let's run this one here. The other one had a little too much on there. The Raptor prophecy. I don't know, man. That one might be unfulfilled. I mean, the raptor god is a cruel god indeed, though. That's for sure. His claws are mighty. There's no slavery. Even suck. Jeremiah 30. Jeremiah 3. I don't know what that means, man. Anyway, Christians, come on up and holler at us. God is evil because he created your family. Some people just like make up stuff in their head and then act like it's true. And everybody, the projection some humans are capable of is unreal, like on an insane level. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, guys, we are having an awfully hard time getting somebody decent to talk to today, which happens every now and then. But let's see. A little slow there. I didn't. So it's just more your ridiculous projection there. I'm gonna make up shit in my head I think people think and then accuse them of it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? God damn. Oh boy. Yeah. Wow. Crazy how many people I've talked to and had crazy conversations, and it still never ceases to amaze me, the stuff that people say. Anyway, Christians, no weight at all at the moment, so come on up. Yeah, we got the good ones up here now. Come on up and talk at us. They do eat, guys, yes. Where'd they go on this? That's 30 there. Yeah, I might have to, I don't know, guys. I might have to try a reset or something. This is rough getting folks in here today. I don't know what's happening. Well, I guess we'll give it a second and see what happens. I mean, the algorithm is still moving, but clearly something's off course here a little bit. It's not typical. Clip stars. I don't need to become a Christian. That's not happening. I'm straight. I don't worship baby murdering gods and slave drivers. And I'm good. I'm straight. I'll pass on that. I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is. And I know this God ain't got it. Yeah. Oh, well, I'll tell you what. We'll give it till 9:30 and we'll see what happens. We'll do a restart if we got to, but maybe we can get somebody on here to talk at. Certainly there's a Christian out there capable of a decent conversation out there. Or I can just sit here and read y'all's comments the whole time. That's fun. That's fun too, I'm sure. Maybe got somebody here. Perhaps. Matthew. Hey, Matthew, you there?
Hey, how you guys doing today, my friends?
Doing good, man. Thanks for asking. Are you over 18?
Yes, sir. I'm 41.
That's a good age. I've got about a year on you. Are you one of the Christians?
I am, sir. I never knew the Lord for 38 years, my friend. I was deceived my whole life. God's real and Jesus is the Christ.
Awesome. So which one of these topics you want to talk with us about today?
Actually, I just want to talk about, you said you're a former Christian. You know, I just want to tell you that according to the Holy Scriptures, that's not possible.
According to the scriptures, it is possible. Have you
You know
read the
that,
scriptures?
yeah, you know, the Scriptures tell us that those who claim they were of Christ and are not, they were never truly of us, that they never truly were saved and knew Christ. But that's why they're saying these things now, because they never were truly of Christ.
Oh, well, not according to Hebrews 6. You ever read that?
Read it to me. I've read the Scriptures, yes, sir.
It says, "For it is impossible to restore again to repentance those who have once been enlightened and tasted the heavenly gift and have shared in the Holy Spirit and have tasted the good word of God and the powers of the age to come, and then have fallen away, since they are again crucifying the Son of God to their own harm and holding him up to contempt." So this is clearly saying you can fall away.
Yeah, no, that says if you fall away, all that's saying is those who have fallen away cannot come back to God. But it's saying
Yeah,
if
I
you
know.
truly were
But
of
you can't
God,
fall away if you was never there, can you?
is this what you do? You just want to get on here to try to I don't know what I've seen you on here a few times, you know. Do you ever want to think about, you know, why the world is the way it is? Why you have this thought to seek the truth? You know, this is because God made us in his image to seek him out.
Yeah, that's great. But can you fall away from this faith if you were never in the faith to begin with?
My friend, I'm not the Lord. Only the Lord knows these truths. My friend, you just
Yeah,
want
but
to
you
get up
came
here
on
to...
and said, according to the scripture, you can't fall away. And I'm showing you clearly here, you can fall away.
My friend, you just take one scripture that put it in, you read no context, you have no truth, you have no understanding. If you don't have the Spirit,
Okay, so what did I get wrong?
you are literally trying to say you don't believe in God, but you are saying you believe in his words, so I'm going to use his words to disprove God. Do you see the problem here, my friend? You're using the words that you don't
Can
prove
you
are
answer
from
my
him,
question?
but you are saying his words are
Can
true,
you
and
answer my question?
I'm
You're
going to
just
use the
dodging. This is
words of truth
dodge,
of God's words
dodge,
against you.
dodge. You want to answer my question now?
No, I don't. I want to ask you the question of why, if you are
So
saying
you want to
God
ask
isn't
me
real,
questions, but you won't
how,
answer the question I've asked you 3 times now?
yeah, how are you going to use these words that you're saying aren't true to disprove God if he ain't God and these words ain't true
I'm
to
not
begin
using them
with?
to disprove God. I'm using them to disprove what you
You
just
see
said
the whole
isn't true.
problem. If God isn't God, these words shouldn't be used as truth anyway. So how can you say these words are true and God can say you never fall away from
I'm not
faith?
saying they're
I'm going to
true.
use
I'm
these
saying
words
what
as
you
true.
said wasn't true based on these words right here. And then you
Do you,
refuse to answer the question. So you
do you
basically just conceding that you don't
Do
know what
you
you're
see,
talking
my
about.
friend, what the problem is? This is the hardness of our hearts that
Yeah, I
want
do
us to
see what the
debate the
problem
truth.
is. The problem is you say it says something. I show you it don't say that. And then you tell me I'm the one with the problem.
I'm not here to debate you. I'm here to soften your heart so you can open up to the truth of the Lord, my friend. That's all I'm doing. Because
Well,
God is
you can
real.
start by
Jesus is the
actually
Christ.
answering the question that I'm asking you.
I have no answers to that question, my friend.
Right. I know.
That changes
So you
not the
got something
fact
else
that
you want to
God
talk
is
about
real
since you were
and
wrong about
Jesus is the
that?
Christ. Yeah, I would like to talk about that Satan is real and many are deceived, that the
Okay,
fallen
prove it.
angels
Prove
rule the
Satan is
world,
real.
that the earth is not
Okay,
a
prove it.
globe. We are deceived about that. The earth and the
Oh,
sun and the
crap.
moon are not millions of miles away. Many of us are blind, my friends. We are in an end time war against Satan on humanity. And many are like you sitting here.
Jeremiah, you there? Jeremiah?
How's it going, guys?
Hey, what's up, man? Are you over 18?
Nothing, just wanted to show love. That's all. Just
That's
wanted to
cool. Are
tell you I
you
love
over
you
18?
and people love you,
Are you over
regardless of
18?
what people think. You gotta love. Love in all
I
things.
hear you. Hey, sorry, Matthew. You can bring yourself off. I didn't mean to. You can bring yourself off the mute there. Oh, no, he ran, of course. Well, unless we got a few in here. Oh, man. Yeah, this is a debate page, man. Not a. You can send me a message telling me how much you love me. You need to come up here on stage, man. Appreciate it, though. Much love. Yes, I have a great love for humans, actually, but I have a quite the disdain for this ridiculous religion. For obvious reasons. Look what it does to you. Oh my goodness. We don't debate God. Yeah, no, you don't. Some people do, though. If you do want to debate God, well, more specifically, one of these topics up here, and you're capable of addressing actual words and not just hollering into the phone here, we would love to talk to you. It would be awesome. Yes, thank you. Oh, man. Yes, the algorithm has came to a crawl here, unfortunately. Anyway, it's still going to somebody, so let us hold out the hope and the faith that we will get a good debate in here today. Sorry, we get at least one decent one there. It's pretty funny though. The first guy there knew he was licked on that first point, and I said, "Oh, I can't answer that. So let me start hollering about Jesus and the devil." Man, oh man. Yeah. Anyway, well, the queue is wide open. If you want to come on up and talk with us, please do. Yes. That's it, Michael. That's what they actually mean. Your heart's hard because you keep reading the words. So what are you doing? Why are you reading this book and like holding it accountable to its own words? Why would you do such things? Man, the weird ones are coming out today. What the bleep is going on, man? Yeah. Scary. Anyway, Christians, come on up, come on through. There is no wait. We are desperate for a decent actual conversation or debate today. That would be absolutely wonderful. Yes. We have the Lord has not sent his best up to talk at us today. Ugh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, I am desperate to talk to a Christian with capable of a actual conversation. That would be great because so far today, y'all are like freaking 1 in 5, which is a horrible, horrible trend to set here. Goodness gracious. The Bible does say, always be prepared to give a reason for the hope that is within you when you're asked for it. So, Christians, what is the reason for the hope that is within you? What is the reasons? Let me get some more here. Hey, Bitter, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, you're over 18 and a Christian, ain't you?
Sorry, say it again?
You're over 18 and you're a Christian?
Yeah, I'm a Christian. I believe in the Bible.
Cool, cool. So which one of these topics you want to talk about today?
Either way, so all of these are incorrect. So why is God doing evil, unjust things in the Bible? He's not. Why does God condone slavery? He doesn't. How is Jesus the Messiah? Okay, let's do number two. We can do number two because I hear this a lot. And so
Yeah.
he
So why
does
don't
it.
you
But
think he condones slavery when he clearly does?
which book, chapter, and verse?
Leviticus 25, verse 44 through 46. As for the male and female slaves whom you may have, it is from the nations around you that you may acquire male and female slaves. You may also acquire them from among the aliens residing with you and from their families who are with you who have been born into your land. They may be your property. You may keep them as a possession for your children after you, for them to inherit as property. These you may treat as slaves. But as for your fellow Israelites, no one shall rule over the other with harshness. Well, clearly, it's condoning slavery.
Okay, so and can I respond? Like, can I give an answer without being cut off? I'm not saying you specifically do this, but I know it's like with atheists. Like when you give an answer, they cut you off mid, like response. So can I give a complete response to this? It won't take long. Like, is that
Yeah, go
okay?
ahead.
All right. So I'll pull up Leviticus 25, and I'll start from verse. No, first let me say to you, right? When the Israelites were leaving Egypt, there were Egyptians and other nations that sojourned with them, right? Like Egyptians, the nations, right? So the Israelites
Yeah,
left Egypt,
foreigners, yeah.
huh?
Yeah, the foreigners, yeah.
Yeah, so the Israelites left Egypt right after their God, sent plagues and destroyed it, or they destroyed it during that time. And so the Israelites left with the help of their God, and these other nations followed them. So the Israelites, they simply say, you know what? We know your people mistreated us. We will let you live amongst us, but all we ask is that you work for us. That's the least you could do. Like, there's nothing like, let's just show, thank you, no problem, right? So they got out the way. And so now let's see this any mistreatment in Leviticus 25, because now we understand that the Israelites allow these people that mistreat them to live amongst them because their God is a just God. And so the same people, they learn from their God. But if they was a false nation or false gods, they'd have brutally mistreated these people. Say now we were slave brutally. But no, it wasn't like that. So let me show you. So Leviticus, let me see. I'll start from verse, verse 45. Moreover, the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall you buy, and of the families that are with you, which shall begat in your land, and they shall be a possession. Right. So from amongst these nations, you can even buy other families that are living and are able to become wealthy within that land. Because if you read verse 47, it states, and if a sojourner or stranger wax rich by thee, and thy brother and the Israelite that dwell by him wax poor, and sell himself unto the stranger. So the Israelites were even able to sell themselves unto these other nations that were supposedly being mistreated, right? Right, think about it. These people were being mistreated, but yet they were able to become wealthy under the Israelites. Where's the mistreatment here? So I'm asking you, where's the mistreatment here?
God is allowing slavery. You said God
Oh my
didn't condone
goodness!
slavery.
Like if this is bad and it's slavery, someone is like enslaved me. I know this sounds crazy, but if I had a choice from the life I'm living now or this, I probably would choose this. You have a chance to live amongst some righteous people that allow you to become rich under them and build wealth under a righteous God after you mistreated them.
Do you know what condone means?
But where is the mistreatment here? Like, please tell me.
I didn't say anything about mistreatment. This is owning people as property. I'm saying God is condoning slavery. That means to permit or allow.
No, it was an understanding between two people. Okay, we left this land. Your people mistreated us. We'll let you live amongst us, but all we ask is that you work for us. That's the least you could do for us. You mistreated us. We could slaughter
They're not
you.
working
We could treat
for
you
them.
brutally.
They are enslaved. They're owned as property by them.
Oh my God. So if you work for a company, right, it's actually the way you're treated now amongst,
Look, don't even start comparing slaves to
No.
employees.
But where's the
This is gonna
mistreatment
make you
here? I'm
look
just
really
wondering,
bad.
where is the mistreatment?
When did I say anything about mistreatment?
Okay, so if this is slavery, then I would actually prefer this. If this is considered bad and this is slavery, then this makes
You don't
sound
think
same. But someone
slavery's
enslaved
bad?
me. If this is slavery and this is bad, then a lot of people will say in their mind, enslave me, because this is like actually very good. You're building wealth with the people that you mistreated, right? And you're able to live amongst them. This is very beautiful in my eyes. The people that was mistreated, the Egyptians mistreated the
Slavery
Israelites,
is
right?
beautiful in your eyes.
No, I mean how the Israelites still have mercy and compassion. Say, you know what? You could live with us, become rich with us, but you have to follow certain things we say. That's what we ask because the people
This
mistreat us.
says you can own those people as property. It's telling you where you can acquire your slaves. It's saying you can't have male Hebrew slaves if they try to sell them to you. But here is where you
Oh my
can get
God.
slaves from the nations around you.
No,
Nations
but
around you aren't people residing with you. You understand that,
no,
right?
no, but look, in verse 47, it says that even an Hebrew can sell themselves amongst these strangers or other nations. So what are you seeing here that's bad? It's one person helping another.
It's
It's a good
slavery.
equals.
It's chattel slavery.
Oh my goodness. So the other nations are enslaving the Hebrews here.
It's
No, verse 47.
it's
No,
telling
verse
the
47. Question,
Israelites
question.
that they can acquire
No,
slaves from the
question.
nations around
In
them.
verse 47, is the other nations again enslaving the Hebrew here? Or is this working each other to help each other out?
This is slavery, my
You see how
man.
he's diverting from the question? Verse 47,
Do you
that's what
see
he.
how you're not addressing
Okay,
what
go
it's
ahead, go ahead,
actually
go ahead.
saying?
One more question. So one more time.
At
Is verse 47 showing that other nations enslaving the Hebrews? Yes or no?
if here, I'll just read it. If any resident aliens among you prosper, and if any of your kin fall into difficulty with one of them and sell themselves to an alien or to a branch of the alien's family, even after they have sold themselves, they shall have the right to redemption. One of the other brothers may redeem them. That's saying you can pay off their debt if
Okay,
they
but
sell themselves to you.
what I see here is an ecosystem of people helping each other. Okay, you help me, sure.
Buying and selling each other as slaves is not help, no matter how
Oh
bad
my
you want it to
goodness.
be. That's a bad thing. Like, we're
These
not
people need
condoning
they
slavery
need to
here.
live. If they make an agreement, okay, I need to live. If I don't work, I'll die. When people enslave you, this help us. We'll do whatever we want. We have to live. We have to eat. We have to work. Okay, these are conditions. Sure, we'll do it. And they was no
Then
mistreatment
how
under
come
these
in verse
conditions.
39 it says, you shall not make a Hebrew Israelite serve as a slave if he tries to sell himself to you?
Wait, what you said?
Verse 39 says, if any of you who are if any who are dependent on you become so impoverished that they sell themselves to you, you shall not make them serve as slaves.
Yeah, no, bond servant. That means
Well,
when
I
you
thought
say
this was just
bond, that means
helping each other. Why
forever.
won't God let the
No,
Israelites help each other
no.
sell each other?
What was the question?
This is saying if a male Hebrew Israelite tries to sell himself to you, then you shall not make him serve as a slave.
No, no,
So if you're
no,
saying
no.
this
No,
is
you're
them
incorrect.
helping each other,
And
why
see,
don't
that's why
God
you try
let
to keep
male
talking.
Hebrew
No, y'all trying to
Israelites
help him.
help each
See,
other?
no, bond servant. So you had the word bond and servant.
Now
So,
we're no, that's not what mine don't say that anywhere.
okay, what version are you reading? What version? I'll read your version.
I'm reading the NRSV UE.
Yeah, that's your mistake, but I'll read it still. 1 second. I'll pull it up also. That's a mistake
That's
with
my
many
mistake.
atheists.
A bondservant is a slave. It's the same thing. They're translating the same words.
Okay, first I'll get your version in. I'm gonna read the exact.
What exactly is your argument that this isn't slavery or it's actually a good thing? I'm confused on what you're trying to tell me.
No, but I see an ecosystem here of one person helping another.
An equal system.
Yes, the
So
other
this equal
nation. So
system
who's enslaving
says
who?
you
Like,
cannot enslave a Hebrew who tries to sell
oh
themselves to
my
you.
goodness.
So why won't God let Hebrews help each other?
Verse 47. What was that? That was a Hebrew selling himself unto other nation for a period of time, just to help him better himself and uplift himself. Well, I'm gonna get the exact definition of bondservant. Okay, so the only difference is that a bondservant is one, that's it doesn't have wages. Let me read it 1 second.
That's a slave. Slaves don't get wages.
Okay,
They're forced labor.
okay, 1 second, it's loading. More.
You're the only person I ever heard come up here and argue this is helping each other. Enslaving each other is helping each other. How nice of them.
No,
Wow.
but I don't see the mistreatment here. You're not showing me okay, you're saying they.
I never said anything about mistreatment. I said he's allowing slavery here.
No, you
And
guys.
to me, owning somebody as property is definitely mistreating them if you are forcing them to work and you are keeping their
So
money
I think the
for
issue with
their work.
atheists.
That's mistreating somebody.
No, I think the issue with atheists is that when they see the word slavery, they lose their mind. But in the Bible, you could be a slave to Christ. You could be a slave to sin. You could be a slave to your burden, right? So I think you got to see the word slavery and just lose your mind. But slavery is not the same as The way
If slavery is just referring to a brother, then that's fine. But this is referring to people you can own as property. This is not just saying you're a slave to Christ. It's not the same thing. This is saying you can own people as property that you can give to your children as inherited property.
it just meant who you make your master or over you. It's like that's what it basically means. It doesn't mean brutal treatment.
It says you can take women and children as slaves and war plunder.
Okay, so I'm gonna read the definition of bond servant. A bond servant is a person legally bound to service, often to pay off a debt or as a form of voluntary servitude. Voluntary servitude, right? So if it's saying that,
Yeah, they're selling themselves as slaves. Like there's a difference here. It differentiates between
my
debt
goodness.
slaves and chattel slaves.
okay, oh my goodness. Okay, verse by verse, what is the issue? Because it's like verse by verse. Like, where's
The issue is it's allowing people to own people as property. That is condoning slavery.
Oh my goodness. And what? Wait. And if these people are trying to better their lives, what is wrong? Go verse by verse. Show me the issue in verse by verse. Start again. You said verse 44 through what? Like,
Through 46.
okay, can you read it? Read each one, and we go through
Yeah,
each
it
one.
says, as for the male and female slaves whom you may have, it is from the nations around you that you may acquire male and female slaves. You may also acquire them from among the aliens residing with you and from their families who are with you who have been born in your land. They may be your property. You may keep them as a possession for your children after you, for them to inherit as property. These you may treat as slaves. But as for your fellow Israelites, no one shall rule over the other with harshness. This is saying you can treat foreigners however you want to treat them. You can treat them just like a slave.
Okay, which
But as for a
verses
fellow
were you
Israelite,
reading?
you're not supposed to do that.
Which verses you
44,
read?
45, and 46.
Okay, now I'm gonna read mine. Moreover, the children of the stranger that do sojourn among you, of them shall you buy, and of the families are all with you, and which they begat in your land, and they shall be a possession. You shall take them as inheritance for your children. All right, so the Most High, he's having, he's giving, an order. Okay, you left Egypt. You're allowing these people that mistreated you to follow you, but treat them kindly. But there must be order. They have to repay what they did some way, because if you let them get over you again, then they will do the same thing. But
This isn't about repaying debts. This says you may acquire them from the nations around you. This is saying you can buy slaves.
yeah, buy. So it doesn't mean take. So if someone say, "Hey, do you want to work for
It
me?"
does mean,
It does, so it didn't say take them, or like they have in America. I think you're confusing American slavery with this. It didn't say take them and brutally abuse. They say your boss, "Hey, you want to work for me?" Oh no, okay, sure. I'll go to this person. Hey, I have this.
oh, hey, do you want to be a slave? Like, no, I'm good. Hey, what about you? Yeah, I want to be a slave. Oh, yeah, let me help you then by owning you as property. Like, do you even get what you're saying here, man?
Yeah, if you want to work for me, they basically give the parameters.
That is not what this is saying. It's saying you can acquire slaves as property from the nations around you. You can buy slaves. If they have children, they're your slaves too. They're also your property. And those children did not sell themselves to you. They were born as property.
Oh my goodness. Okay, verse 47. And if a sojourner or stranger wax rich by thee, what does that mean to you?
Oh my God.
Wait, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? If a
We've already
sojourner-
read this.
Wait, one more time. If a sojourner or stranger
It
wax
says,
rich by thee, what does that mean to you?
okay, if a resident aliens among you prosper, and if any of your kin fall into difficulty with one of them and sell themselves to an alien or to a branch of the alien's family, even after they have sold themselves, they shall have the right of redemption. One of their brothers or sisters may redeem, or it doesn't say sisters, it says one of their brothers may redeem them. That says if they sell themselves to a foreigner, then a brother, another Israelite, has the right to pay off their debt.
Okay, so the fact that these nations became rich with the Israelites and were able to have Israelites work under them, what does that mean to you? Well, what do you think of when you think
What
of
does that have to do with slavery?
No, I'm just asking, what do you see in your mind when you see that?
When I say what?
When you see these nations that are living amongst the Israelites becoming rich with the Israelites and allowing other Israelites to work under them, but the Israelites are allowing this. So when I say that, what comes to your mind? How do you feel about that?
What comes to my mind is there's foreigners living in the land doing good.
Okay, so there's foreigners in the land doing good. Perfect. You finally understand. Okay. They're
All
doing
right.
good.
So is the nations
They're doing
around
good.
them the people?
Okay,
among
wait.
them?
I'm trying. You're getting there. It's good. Perfect. You're getting so that the nations are doing good with the Israelites, right? So if they're doing good with the Israelites and the Israelites allow them to prosper with them, what is the issue in Leviticus 25?
That you can own people as property, the nations around you. You can acquire slaves
Okay,
from the
they own them
nations
as a
around you.
worker.
That is not the people among you. You're not addressing but half the problem here.
Yeah, okay. They're owning them as workers. That's their worker. What's wrong with that? Okay, that's my work. My work. You know what my means? If I say that's
Can
my
somebody
wife,
own you as
he belongs.
property, force you
Okay,
to work, and then keep
that he
all the
belongs to
shit that
me.
you work
Wait,
for,
wait.
and you think that's doing them a favor?
Okay, it would be better if he said that's my worker. Would that be better? If that's mine, that means that belongs to me. If that's my wife, it's typically my property for
That's
being her,
my
right?
human.
If
That
that's
human
my
belongs to
car,
me.
if
Anything he
that's
does
my
is mine. I
dog, if
keep
that's
that.
my son, he belongs to me, right? It means to belong to. So I don't understand it. That just means that okay.
You don't own your son as property.
No, but like he belongs to me. But I don't understand like your issue here. But they're being treated very well.
I know you don't. I know you
They're
don't.
they're being treated very well in Leviticus 25. Very well.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Very well. Like I don't see this. They're
No, they're
becoming
not.
rich with
It
it.
literally says you can treat them as slaves, but as for your fellow Israelites, you shall not rule over each other with harshness. So it's clearly saying you can rule over these with harshness, but not these. So
Yes, I'm
whatever you're
reading these
talking
weird
about don't
verses
make
that
any
added
sense.
things to it. That even makes sense where you read it. You can treat them as slaves, but I don't get it. That makes no sense. But as a fellow Israelites,
I
you can
know
treat
you
them with
don't.
such harshness. Like a slave just means someone like that's a worker. I don't. Wow. Or under a
Yeah,
master. It just means to be under a master or so. I don't
Peter,
know.
I don't think it means someone that's paid, right? That seems to be what you're saying. And an Evid is not someone who's paid.
So you say it again? I'm sorry.
So it's sorry. It sounds like what you're saying is that when we see this word slave, that it just means like a hired worker.
So no, so the word slave in the Bible that means to have a master over, right? So in instances, like say in Leviticus 25, there were instances in which the Israelites allowed the nations to actually work amongst them. Verse 47 shows it. But then there were some that that just helped out, and they worked under the Israelites sometimes without being paid, because again, the Israelites showed mercy unto these nations that they allowed to be with them, and
Well,
so just. Mhm.
Peter, a toshav, the word that's being used there, is someone that's living in the land as a foreign resident that is probably like leasing a plot of land from an Israelite and working it. And that means in that scenario, a toshav, like a tenant farmer, could either do very well, right, which is what's being described in 47 to 55, or they could become destitute, which is what's being described in 44 to 46.
So what is your point? Like, what are you saying exactly? Like,
Well, if a foreign tenant farmer becomes destitute and sells himself to an Israelite, the law says that they may treat them and keep them as slaves permanently.
so where do you see that in Leviticus 25?
44 to 46.
Okay, verse 45 states that moreover the children of strangers that do sojourn among you, right? This could be the ones that left Egypt with them, or other nations that just come here. Of them shall you buy the families. Okay, so these other nations saw a good ecosystem, a righteous one, where the Israelites are merciful. So you know what? We are not like you guys. We don't brutally mistreat our fellow humans. But here's how things will happen. You can work with us, but as we're over this land and we allow you to be here, do this for us. Sure, you're helping us, we'll do that. Okay, if you want to work for me, I'll let you work for me. Don't work, no problem. But where's the mistreatment here? I'm just confused. Like
Well, sorry,
everybody's trying to make
help
Leviticus
me
25 look.
understand.
Wait.
Bitter,
I'm almost
bitter,
done. Everybody's
bitter.
trying to
Help.
make
His
Leviticus
brain
Remember,
is
25
stuck
look
on a
bitter,
awesome.
loop. Like he's been
Like
broken.
they're
bitter. Hold
they're
on,
trying to
hold
make
on,
Leviticus
hold on, because I
25 look
think
like
this is
Satan. I don't get it.
bitter. I think this is an important point. You keep saying you can work for us. What can you be more specific about what you mean by that?
Okay, so when I say they say that you can work for us, right? So they're allowing them to live amongst them, right? maybe this will help build themselves up again. They just left Egypt and they still trying to build themselves up, recover. Okay, we can let you stay amongst us, but you have to do something. We can't just let you just be here and possibly become powerful over us again and oppress us again. But even though you mistreated us, you could be here, but this work, this help us build this, okay, this stable here, help us plot the ground.
Right, but is
It's just
that
sure,
what the
okay,
text
sure, right?
says, Bitter? Bitter,
So,
from a legal
okay, and so
standpoint. But wait, Bitter, because this is the
there's
important
many
bit,
ways to
right?
look at it. Like
Right,
this,
I know, but
you
let's
know,
look at it from the way the text is stating it first, right? So when the text says that they will become your property, do you know what that Hebrew word is?
okay, so let's go first to the verse which says property in this chapter. Where is it? And then I can answer that,
It,
bro.
it should be 45,
Okay,
and they will
moreover,
become your
through the
property.
strangers among that do sojourn among you, of them shall you buy, the families that are with you, which should be got, and it should be for possession. Okay, so possession could be property. Yeah, so basically, it just means that they're hired to work with you. You can't say, "Oh, I'm gonna work for someone else."
No, no,
No,
no, no, no. Sorry, I asked you a very specific question. Like, do you know what that Hebrew word means?
what property
Well, yeah, the word that's translated property is the Hebrew word
to
achuzah.
belong to, to belong
No, no,
to.
no. It's actually a very specific word, and it's used actually throughout Leviticus 25 and elsewhere. But this is the only time that it's applied to a human. The word normally just means landed property, so it's the inheritance that the tribes are given. So a family has a particular portion of land that is called their achuzah. It's the thing that is passed down, cannot be sold away from the family. So in Leviticus 25, like the text is going to great lengths to talk about the achuzah, and it says, if an Israelite becomes so poor that they have to sell a portion of their achuzah or all of their achuzah.
But you said Israelite, so
Right.
wait, so if an Israelite becomes poor, they can sell their land or possession.
Right, but that's the point of Leviticus 25, right? Is that if they sell it at the year of Jubilee, the 50th year,
If they sell it to who?
to anybody, it doesn't matter to whom. At the 50th
Wait,
year,
so you're saying that Israelite can sell their possession of land to even a heathen?
well, probably, I mean, probably not, right? It's
I mean,
probably just going
probably,
to be
and
another,
saying for sure, and probably, like, are you sure about what you're saying? Because probably, and I know for sure, it's like two different things.
okay.
You say they can sell it, but to who? If it's to
Well,
fellow
the
Israelites,
text, okay, Bitter, if you want me to answer, just let me, okay? So the text isn't specifying to whom, right? So when I say probably, you're asking me to read broader cross
yeah,
contextual issues into the text.
yeah.
And that's why I'm using the word probably. But it's not really the material point here. The fact that they sell the achuzah, the law states that at the year of
Sell the land,
Jubilee,
right? So Akuzah is the land, right? Or
well,
persons.
most of the time, yes. That's the point that I'm trying to make. So at the 50th year, whatever it is that has been sold has to revert back to the family that sold it. That is what an achuzah is. It is their possession. It is their property. It is what has been allotted to them that must stay in their family. So this is the only place in the Hebrew Bible where achuzah is used with respect to a person, to a human being. And it's saying that the foreign slaves, the foreign eveds, are the achuzah, become part of the achuzah of the Israelite paterfamilias, of the Israelite family. So that's why it says you may pass them on as inheritance to your children, just the same as the landed property that is in your family. That's why this is such a big deal. It's not that they're workers, that they're now part of the possession of the family to be inherited by the sons after them.
Yeah, to work with them. Yes.
To be inherited
Yes, inherit to work for them. Yes, you can say I'm working for
As
another company,
property,
another person.
as
inherited as
property. So,
property.
okay, so Bitter,
Okay,
here's
yeah,
the
but yeah,
question. And this is Bitter,
yeah,
this
to
is
work
the
for them forever. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. You can't say I'm
Okay, bitter,
Yeah, they
bitter.
go through another person. They
Here's
already
where
have their
this
word. Their word is bond.
bitter. Here's what will become clear to you why
They've
it's a
been deceived
problem.
their whole lives. So
Bitter,
you
bitter,
must keep your word. We mistreated.
bitter,
You must
bitter.
work for us, all right? You can't just say
This
your
is
word
where
for
it's
us and
going to
not keep your
become very
word.
problematic for your position.
Okay, how so?
So this foreign slave, this foreign Eved that is now the Achuzah of the Israelite, can they say, no thanks, I don't want to be your Achuzah anymore and leave? Can they do that?
No, because like
No.
they made a word. They before they accepted that they kept their word.
I don't know,
And so
where do
yeah,
you see that they agree to that? Can you show me that in the text where they agree to it?
okay, so when you read verse verse 47, right, it shows that again, it shows a respect unto these other nations, right? So hey,
What
I
respect?
know you. We live amongst each other for all these years. You live right down the block, like on the land, right? So I know you. We know each other well. We're very familiar with each other. We kind. Oh, I see your son Johnny here. Can he work for us? So an Israelite would go to
Yeah, can I
another
buy your
Israelite.
son?
It's so interesting that you
Wait,
like
I'm almost finished.
yeah,
Wait,
but you're not reading the passage at all, right? You're just editorializing.
okay, I'll read it. I'll read it. And if a sojourner or stranger wax rich by thee, that's in the same land and perimeters, and thy brother that dwell by him wax poor, and sell himself unto the stranger or sojourner by thee, or to the stock of the stranger's family. So when you read this, it shows that they were very familiar, had a good relationship with one another.
I don't know
Right?
why you would say that. Why would you even read that into the text?
But why shouldn't I? It shows a good relationship between the Israelites.
How does it show that? Can you make that argument?
And if a sojourner or stranger wax rich by thee, of these
Uh-huh.
which could buy their families, read verse 45, of these sojourners and strangers you could buy their families, which can also become rich under, by thee, and thy brother that dwelleth by him wax poor, and sell himself unto the stranger, or sojourner by thee, or to the stalker. Okay, so I understand, like, what is your question here? You see the sojourners and
You
the strangers.
editorialized this whole thing about Johnny, is on hard times. He can come work for us. Like, I'm asking you to show me any of that in the text.
Yes, verse 45. For moreover, the strangers that sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy, and of their families are with you. And so we can find these same strangers and sojourners in verse 47, which become rich under
When you
the.
say the same strangers and sojourners, what do you mean by that?
Yes, so the same strangers and sojourners you could buy, like you go to the family, say, I see your son here. Okay, is it okay if he worked for us? Sure, sure, go ahead. Like
You keep saying work for us. What's actually should be said here more appropriately is that, hey, your son looks pretty fit there. Can I buy him and own him as property and then make him work for me? That's what you really should be
okay,
saying.
but what is wrong with that? They know the Israelites are very loyal and
What
kind,
is
and
wrong with
they
that?
basically wait, hold on, wait. They have an established work basically forever. They have to worry about anything ever again. They have a job forever. They have food, a roof over their head. People in America actually wish for this. In other countries, this is very like this is the blessing for the nations. They basically promise inheritance of a roof over their head,
Do you
clothes.
realize how
They 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 they,
terrifying
they,
that
they have
sounds?
they have sheep.
Bitter,
They get
bitter,
fed
I
like.
can't believe other
And
bitter,
then
people
their
say
families
that
bitter,
become
shit the
bitter.
rich.
way
Hold
you're
on,
Here's the
saying
bitter,
it.
problem here. I'm
bitter.
confused.
Okay, well, let me explain the problem. And it's
You
one
guys
that
are
you will
confusing me. Like seriously, like
bitter,
what is the
bitter.
problem
You
here?
will immediately say, "Oh yeah, that is a problem." Right? Everything that you just described was also true in the antebellum South.
No, and not at all. So you're telling me that the slaves in America, right? They have property with like the slave masters. They have building and they become rich with them. Are
That
you
is
telling
not
me?
what the text says, sir.
But why did you bring antebellum? I don't get it.
Because you just said it's a great blessing
Holy
that
shit.
they get a house, they get food, right? They get to live with the master, right? They don't have to buy anything. Like everything gets paid, for them. They get to eat and all this stuff forever. They don't have to worry about it anymore. You just
No,
said
but you
they
left
get
for the
room
part where
and
this is
board
where
as
their
a
families
slave
are
forever,
rich.
and it's a
No,
great blessing.
no, but you left for the part where their families were rich, and they're allowing them. They
No,
asked. No,
these are
they
two
asked.
different, sir.
No,
These
they
are
asked
two
of their family.
different.
They didn't
No,
take.
sir,
One
sir,
people
you
took and one
can't,
asked.
sir,
Wait.
sir,
One people
sir.
took and one
No, you
asked.
can't do that. You can't
Wait.
say that the same individual
Oh my
that
God.
is described in 45 is the individual that's described in 47.
Why can't I say that?
Because it's equivalent to saying if the text, let's take out Toshav. Toshav is a type of person, right? It's a tenant farmer. Let's replace that with Marylander, right? Because that's an equivalent description.
Marylander.
A
What is
Marylander, right? Or a Virginian, or a, I don't know, what do you call a Kentucky person? A Kentuckian. I don't know. But that's
Kentucky
why.
Night.
There you go, Kentucky. No, but so like a Virginian, right? So if the text says, if you want to purchase a slave, you can get them from the Virginians that are among you. From them you may buy slaves, right? And then the text says, but if there's a Virginian that's living among you that becomes rich, well, it doesn't mean that the same Virginian that was purchased in 45 through 44 through 46 is the same Virginian that's being purchased in 47. I mean, that is doing the purchasing in 47. It's just they're both Virginians. They're not the same. It's not Frank the Virginian and Frank the Virginian. It's like Frank the Virginian and Sam the Virginian. Does that make sense?
Actually, don't. So you're saying that the Israelites pick and choose like who they're going to like mistreat amongst the
No,
nations?
you have a group of people that's living in the land, right? They're called toshavs. They're tenant farmers. If there's a toshav, that's a group of people. If there's a toshav that becomes poor and sells himself, or you purchase him, you can make that person work forever. However, if there's a toshav and they have really good crop years working the land that they're renting out, and they become really wealthy because of that, and another Israelite becomes poor and sells himself to that toshav, here's what the law says to do. It doesn't mean that they become a slave, that one person becomes a slave, and then in verse 47, somehow that one slave gets like really wealthy and becomes the slave or the person in 47. That's not what's going on in the text.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that the people that they're purchasing are from the people that become rich or the families that's
No,
around them, right?
no, it's not.
That's
Yeah, dude.
you're
It's
making that
very
shit up.
explicitly not.
But how are you getting that it's not in verse in this chapter? I don't get it. It says
Okay, so look. Okay,
That's what I'm
great,
saying,
great.
bro.
Hey, listen. I'll explain it.
It's
The
very clear.
Israelite that's purchasing a slave in 44 to 46, is that the same Israelite that's selling himself into slavery in 47?
Okay, let me see. Okay, I read it. So ask the question one more time. No, I read it.
Is when the law says if you Israelites in 44 to 46 want to purchase male and female slaves, you can get them from the Toshavim. The Israelites that are purchasing slaves in 44 to 46, are they the same? Is it the same Israelite that's purchasing a slave in 44 to 46, the same Israelite that's selling himself into slavery in 47?
So you say Israelite. It says stranger. You say it's the same Israelite, but this is
The
other.
Israelite in 47 is selling himself to the foreigner. Is it the
Oh,
same Israelite? In other words, let's give
no,
the
I
Israelite a
see now. I
name.
see now. I see.
Yeah. Like if it's Frank the Israelite, is the law saying that Frank the Israelite, he purchases a slave and keeps him and passes him on his inheritance? And then what happens if Frank, after having purchased this slave in 44 to 46, becomes really, really poor and then he sells himself? Is that what the text is saying? Or is it saying if there
Yeah, no,
is
it's not
an
saying that. Yeah.
Israelite? Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
Right.
basically, what this is saying is that the people or other nations that become rich with the Israelites that weren't purchased by the Israelites already under them, those that are under an Israelite through a purchase, they can become rich and help others, right? If they haven't volunteered to sell themselves and they built up their wealth on their own, these people could then have others work for them, even other Israelites, but not forever, because again, the Israelite could go to that stranger or other nation and say, you know what, I'll redeem my brethren, right? So basically, if a nation was purchased by an Israelite to work under them, they cannot then become rich and say, hey, I'm gonna have others work for me. So it's not that. So that's the answer.
Yeah, right. So just to be clear to everybody listening, like that a toshav is part of a group of people called the toshavim, like the toshavs. And these are people that are living in the land. Let's say there's 1 million of them. I don't know, but there's not 1 million. Let's say there's 1,000 of them
But what are you trying
living
to
in.
say? Like, you keep,
Yeah. What I'm saying is that of that 1,000, that group of 1,000 toshavs, some of them might become really poor. And if they do, and you buy them, you can make them serve as slaves for life. They become part of your landed property. However, if there are some of these toshavs that do really well and they become wealthy and they purchase slaves that are Israelites, here's what you have to do as far as the law is concerned. They, as you just said, right? Israelites can't be made to serve forever. They, supposed to be redeemed. And if they don't get redeemed by the 50th year, they get released. But that's what the law is doing. So it's not saying that slaves can become rich. That's not what it's saying. And that, you may have just like clarified it, and that's not what you were saying before. And if so, that's great.
yes, that is correct. So it is saying that those that purchase, they can't become rich. But what I'm saying is that if the Israelites were mistreating these people, right, and you buy from these nations that live amongst them, and they could sell off, their children to work under these Israelites, maybe for to help them. They didn't take them and say, hey, I'm gonna go take them. They went to them and say, hey, can Johnny work for me? Sure, go ahead. You agree,
Yeah,
brother?
but
We'll work, right?
where do you see
They didn't
that,
go. They
Bitter?
didn't go to them and snatch them and say, you know what, they're mine, like they did here in America.
Well,
And
no, they
no, they
purchased
didn't
them.
pull them.
They
They didn't
purchased them
snatch them from their
legally.
mother's hand. They went and said, hey,
Yeah, they purchased them legally, Bitter. But that doesn't make it better, right?
it does, because from the family they purchased from, right? The family was with their Israelites, living good amongst them. So why then, think about it, why would the Israelites, right, not just enslave everybody that's in there? Why would they do it in this way? Like, you're not really thinking, why not just enslave everybody amongst them, the nations? Like, can you answer that question?
They do that
Uh,
if they're close enough. They enslave the ones that are far away.
well, I mean, I
No, no,
suspect
no,
it's
no. The
because they didn't
sojourners and
have the
strangers
money to
amongst
do
them.
that.
Why they
But
need to slave them? Why they just enslave everybody? Why did they
I mean,
do that?
probably because they didn't have the money to do that.
And God told them not to in some
They
cases.
didn't have the money to wait. I don't get it. So the Israelites
This
left them
isn't. This
outnumbered.
isn't.
They had a
Yeah,
little guard that they was terrified. What do you mean they couldn't do that? I don't get it.
Bitter. This text isn't considering specifically like war captives, right? This isn't talking about
Oh my god.
specifically talking about like going and capturing people in warfare. This is talking about purchasing them. So, I mean, at a very basic level, the Israelites would have to have enough capital to go and purchase a bunch of slaves. That's according to this law, like that's probably why you don't see them just purchasing everybody because they don't have the
Okay.
money to do that.
Let me help you better understand it. I think you're not. When the Israelites left Egypt and these nations followed them, the Israelites that left, why didn't the Israelites just enslave those people that followed them?
I don't understand your question. Why and what in what respect?
Do you mean Egypt?
Yeah, so when the Israelites left, this
Yeah, there's like a mixed multitude, right? From Exodus 12. Is that what you're
yeah,
talking about?
why didn't the Israelites just enslave everybody?
Uh, sorry, I don't understand your question. Why in what respect?
Yeah, why they didn't just enslave them? Like, I don't get it. Why okay, when I see verse Leviticus 25, it's showing that this is not slavery, because it wouldn't make sense to say, hey, I'm coming to enslave your family, but can I ask you, can I buy for them? It makes no sense. Why can't they just save money and not buy at all. Just take them, enslave their families and their children, and have the generational, slavery that way, instead of purchasing from these people that get easily enslaved for free.
Sorry, are you just asking why they had any humanitarian aspects to the culture at all?
So
Well,
why
because they're
didn't they just enslave
humans,
them instead of
right?
buying
I
them?
mean, like, I don't understand the question. Like, the text goes, just like other ancient Near Eastern cultures,
Oh my God.
you're supposed to look out for the foreigner. You're supposed to look out for the underprivileged. You're supposed to look out for, at least on paper, you're supposed to look out for the vulnerable. It's not surprising that they wouldn't just enslave everybody.
Then what is your
That's not
guys' point
surprising.
of Leviticus 25? They eat in what you're saying, it makes no sense. Like, then what's the point of keep going to Leviticus 25? I don't get it.
What's the point of what?
Keep going to Leviticus 25 to show that God is bad. Like,
Well,
I'm confused.
it's because it's saying chattel slavery is okay. That's why.
So, it's bad. It's showing that a person is going to another person that's poor, that is left of destitute land, to go to another person for help, and they give them these parameters, but yet God is horrible because they have parameters that they set in place.
I don't understand where you're, because again, you're editorializing, right? Where do you see in Leviticus 25, 44 to 46, where it says like the foreigner is coming and saying, I need help, and the Israelites saying, okay, we'll help you out. You can work for us. Like, where is that?
Again, when the Israelites left Egypt, they saw the power of their God. They saw the Egyptians, the Israelites leaving with wealth, with grain, with food, with gold. And so they saw this. They saw their land destitute, famine, pestilence. They needed help, right? And so they went amongst the Israelites for this help. That's actually why they sojourned amongst them, because they saw their God is God. And that also, they saw they was like, it wouldn't be wise to remain in Egypt. And so they left with these people, right? The Israelites. So again, where is this? Like, this is why I'm confused about you guys' whole argument. Like, what do you guys actually see? Like, when they left Egypt, these nations followed with them because they saw that the Israelites were rich again. They left with grain, food, and with the power of their God. So this is why I'm confused. I think you guys are confused also, but I think you're trying to find anything to make y'all look bad that you're confusing
Well,
yourself.
sorry, finish your thought because I didn't understand your question. What
Okay,
is it that you?
here's my question simply. The nations left with the Israelites when the Israelites left Egypt because the other nations needed help. They saw that it wouldn't be wise to remain in Egypt at that time. It was pestilences. Their God judged Egypt. And so seeing this, they felt would be best to follow the Israelites. And the
Okay,
Israelites allowed it, right?
sure.
So, and what is it? What is the problem there?
Well, there isn't any problem with anything that you just said.
Okay, yeah. So then, what would be the problem with Leviticus 25 then?
Okay, so if we take this into like modern vernacular, you have people from Mexico, let's say,
Can we
that have
just
come
oh
into.
my God. Like, this is how you
No,
confuse
just
people. Why
no,
are you
wait,
giving hypothetical
okay. I'm
examples?
trying to help. I'm trying to help.
Can we just
Look,
focus on the
I will.
Bible and the people that left?
I
Bring up
promise, bitter,
Mexico. It's a it's an Egypt Israelite.
I
I don't see
promise,
Mexico
I will
here.
bitter. I promise, I will tie it back to Leviticus 25. Okay, I
But why not just use
promise.
the example of the people I gave you? Why
Well,
use
I
Mexico?
have about
Okay,
seven
go.
times. You just okay. So let's say that there are people in Mexico that come to the United States and say it's so much better to be here because of economic reasons, right? And maybe because it's safer, whatever. You have people from Mexico that are living in the United States, right? Is there any problem with that? No, of course not. But if then the United States made a law that said, look, you can't take other Americans as slaves. So if you want to get slaves, you have to take them from the Mexicans that are living in the land, right? These can become your property and pass them on as
It's not
inheritance.
analogous. It's not analogous at all.
Okay, let me show
Yes,
you
it
how it
is.
is. Let me show you how it
That's my
is.
house, not because I made the claim. So
Yes, it is.
Okay, so now I'm going to tie it back to Leviticus 25 because I promised that I would,
it's not.
right? there are two groups of people that are being described in Leviticus 25, 44 to 46, right? The first is people from the nations that are around them. So the goyim that are around them. That's the group, that's one group from which they can purchase slaves. The other group is if there are foreigners that are living in the land with them. They can purchase those people as slaves. But 39 to 43, this is on the heels of 39 to 43, which explicitly says if a fellow Israelite becomes so poor that they can't do anything and they have to sell themselves to you, you're not allowed to turn them into a slave. Instead, they have to be with you as a hired worker. So that's why it's directly analogous. What's the symmetry breaker between them?
Are you doing this on purpose? Like, I know some atheists, they always do this. They give long, bloviating comments to throw people off. I stated that when the Israelites
Are you
left,
going to answer the question or not?
he made a statement. He didn't answer the question. So when the Israelites left Egypt, these nations left with them for help, and the Israelites allowed them to follow them. What is wrong with that?
I answered that question, actually,
No,
as
you
soon
brought up
as you
Mexico.
asked it.
You brought up
Is,
Mexico. You didn't
is
answer
some,
it.
do
No,
you
no,
have some
no.
sort of mental block?
No, you
Bitter?
brought up
Like,
Mexico
you
when I
are
asked that
not
question.
fucking
You
No,
listening.
no,
didn't.
no,
You're
Bitter,
literally
I
You didn't know
saying
how
didn't.
the
to
I
say
same
said
what.
shit
no.
over and
You brought
over
up
Bitter,
Mexico.
I
again.
You didn't
said,
answer
It's
that.
getting
You went
really
to
ridiculous.
I said no. There's nothing wrong. You don't remember me saying that? And then you said, okay, so what's the
okay. Yes,
problem?
yes. So what's problem with Leviticus 25 then?
Oh, okay, all right. So did you want to retract that? Say, sorry, Josh, you're right. You did answer it.
No, you didn't answer the whole thing because that my other part was
You
what.
you got
Now
to be
then,
shitting
what
me,
is the
dude.
issue with Leviticus 25? Like,
Well, that's
what?
the second thing that
Holy
I
shit.
answered in my quote unquote long bloviating
It's
answer.
unreal. Unfucking real.
Come on, Bitter.
So yeah. So what? Can you just like sum it up briefly? Like again, like you're not
Yes,
doing
it
this
is
on a 2 minute
immoral for
answer.
anyone to own another person as property and pass them on as inheritance. That's immoral, according to my lights.
Well, not in the case of Leviticus when they left Egypt, when the nation was mistreating them, and they had to build themselves up in order to protect themselves. Right? They had to
So
respect.
you think that there are times, Bitter, where it's okay if some people are purchased and owned as property and passed on as inheritance, a situation from which they cannot leave.
If the people are treating them well, yeah, I believe. Yeah, they made an
Okay,
agreement.
well,
Yeah, yeah,
yikes, buddy,
yes,
yikes.
yes. Nothing's wrong
Yikes,
with that.
that's scary. That's
Why is
scary
that
that you
scary?
think that's
What's scary
okay.
about it? What's scary
Well,
about that?
So
Because
because
could
they
you
do.
just
that's what
state for the
happened.
record, as a Christian, you are pro-slavery and you think God, you in fact does know God condones
Yes,
slavery? Is that
because
right?
I could be a slave to Christ.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
I
you.
could be
All
a
right.
slave to my fellow brethren.
Perfect.
I could be.
Perfect. You finally did it, buddy. You finally did it. Thank you. Holy shit. Well, you heard it there. Slavery's good and loving. That's God, and that's the Christian doctrine there. We
This
did it,
is what's
Josh.
so God. This is what's so dangerous about this. And look, I know I say this a lot. I try to be charitable here, and I understand how to some people that can seem rational. But I mean, please, if anybody is under that impression, right, or follows somebody like Doug Wilson that thinks as long as you treat the slaves okay, then it's not immoral, like just go read a book about the antebellum South and the laws there. Like you will see things like if you abuse for more than moderate correction a slave, or deprive them of life and limb, it will be as if you had done that to a free white person. Like it's illegal to abuse and to unalive your slave. Like the law says that, but like so I mean, like it feels like the same people that are reading and defending the biblical text would turn to those laws and say, see, you're not allowed to abuse them. Eh, but we know what happens. we think it's, I mean, it's just, I'll shut up. But like, it's so true. Those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. It just,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, y'all heard it here. Christians are pro-slavery. At least a bunch of them we talk to are. There's no getting around that. You heard it there. That's the Christian love and mercy to help people out, to purchase them as property. I mean, that's love right there. That's love. Dr. Josh, how many times did you throw up in your mouth talking to that guy?
oh, yeah.
Oh,
And I mean,
man.
look, I like he sounds like a very, very like he's thought some of this stuff through, like, and I really appreciate that, right? But I just man, it just scares me when people are willing to, I don't know, check aspects of their morality at the door. Anyway.
Well,
how are you doing? How are
humanity there?
how are the vowels coming?
Really good actually. I put in some time yesterday. That was the first time I actually got to study for a while. So yeah, I'm definitely getting there. There's some words I can even sort of read, but some of it's like some of it I memorize, but when I actually try to read it, I have to sit there and think about it for so long. Like it's just not fluent for me yet, I guess. I don't know. I wish maybe there's some sort of flash exercise or.
I mean, definitely. I mean, I again, this may just be the way that I learn, or in my experience that people learn. But if you get those flashcards, print them out, or get an app or something, and just sit there and flip through, the vowels and just pronounce them as you see them, and just flip through those flashcards over and over again. That's how it sets in.
Hey, I'll tell you what's catching me up too is that some of them mean the same thing, so I have to like sit there and think about it in my head. Like, does this one mean this one? And then like it was I think you warned me about that actually. The chapter 2 would be a little overwhelming.
Yeah, and again, and I mean this. If you want to have a Zoom call or something, we can, we can kind of talk about some of because there are some things that you can do, I think, to make it a little easier. But
if you can show me that would be. I really just don't want to waste your time either and just ask silly questions like I normally do.
Oh no, I mean, I think that's all part. That's why I run the classes. Is because it can be. I think for a lot of people, it can be difficult to just kind of pick up a book and do it on your own. But having somebody to kind of talk it through with is.
Maybe it's kind of like having a gym buddy too. Yeah, you got some spurs you on a little better because I've really just been making myself write shit over and over and over again, and it's
well, good. No,
it's actually working pretty good, but
awesome.
It's yeah. I have a simple mind when it comes to book learning. Apparently, I haven't done it in a long time. And
you seem like you're doing quite well. So,
I mean, I'm getting there through the labor, I suppose, but like I don't know. In my head, I read it so many times, and I feel like I've got it down. Then I actually try to read it, and I clearly don't have it down like I thought I did.
Well, if you ever get like if you get bored or it gets slow or something on stream, pull some Hebrew text up and put it on the screen, and then try to pronounce it for everybody. That sort of practice will, I think, go a long way.
Oh yeah, that'll be neat. I do keep the book here, so. But yeah, I wish I was, as much as I looked at it, I feel like I should have it a little bit more readable than I already do, I guess. But no. Wait a minute. Dr. Josh, I think Joshua Turney here wanted to ask you something real quick. If that's
Hey,
okay.
yeah, I wanted to kind of pick your brain a little bit while you were up here. I am a Christian, but I don't agree with slavery, so you don't have to worry about that.
Thank God.
My question though is I was wondering if you've done much reading about the Essenes.
No, not much. The person that you would want to ask, I think, at least in these spaces, I mean, if you could talk to John Collins about it, obviously, but I think it's difficult to get him around. But Kip Davis is a Dead Sea Scrolls specialist, and he's around a fair
Okay.
amount. I don't know if you're familiar with Kip. And he may
Yes.
have actually. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So from what I've been reading recently, and this has just been I'm not super educated on the topic. Obviously, I'm asking questions about it. I just learned of them probably about a month ago or so. But from what I have found, it seems like they were potentially they might have believed in two separate messianic figures, and there are people. I think one of the guys, particular, his name's Israel Noel or something like that.
Mhm.
But he was under the impression that they did interpret Isaiah 53 to potentially be Pesher. So talking about the suffering servant being a messianic figure, as well as talking about the nation of Israel. And then I know they also I think it's in the Melchizedek scroll, or I think there's another scroll called the Testament of Levi, where they were interpreting the 70-week prophecy from Daniel to the coming of the Messiah being around 2 or 3 AD, and this was all first century BC. So I found it interesting that there is potentially a sect of the Jewish people that were interpreting these things this way before Jesus, and I just was wondering if you had done any research on it or not.
Yeah. So I haven't. The Second Temple period, particularly as it goes on, is sort of there's sort of bands of specialization that A&E scholars have, and mine tends to be earlier. But I will say Kip Davis is a great person to talk to about anything Dead Sea Scrolls related. But I was just looking down and I saw Rabbi Hannah's here, and I don't know if she's got time or if she would want to talk about it, but I suspect she would also know obviously far more about it than I would.
Yeah, I mean, if she wanted to mention anything on the topic, I would be very interested in what she has to say about it, because I've been mainly finding biased sources on it. You know what I mean? Because obviously, if this were to be true, it would be an incredibly strong argument for Christianity, right? So I would assume that a lot of the stuff that I've been reading is slightly biased, so I'm just kind of interested in a different interpretation. But yeah, anyway.
Well, what I'll do, Josh, I'll probably be talking to Kib later on today. I'll mention that you asked the question, and I think he's probably got an email address that publicly is available. But if not, if you know who Kip is, you could probably leave a comment on one of his videos or something, and with a way to contact you. Maybe he's got some time or some resources or something that you can look at.
Yeah, that would be cool. You said Kip Davis, right?
Yeah, KIPPDAVIS. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Of course.
I appreciate it, man. And that's all I had. I just want to ask a question. I'll be listening. Awesome. You guys have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Josh. We appreciate it, man.
Back at you, Josh.
Yeah, and I probably better drop down myself.
Yeah, no worries. I appreciate you coming up and once again sharing the headache of those dinosaur guards are hard to deal with, man. They really make people crazy.
Well, I appreciate you you having me up. But yeah. All right, man. Well, I'll keep listening.
Oh yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you
See
as
you, man.
usual there, Doctor. Oh boy. Well, we got a few in the guest queue here. Let's try to bring up. Crap, I didn't say that name. Truth, over to you there.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Are you over 18?
Yeah,
You're one of the Christians?
I am. I was hoping to speak
So
to Dr. Josh, but he hopped off. All good. Well, I guess I only caught the tail end of what that first guy was saying about slavery, so I apologize if I bring up like questions or anything that person brought.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Because I guess I'll ask you this, since Dr. Josh isn't up. Maybe you can answer in the comments. Despite slavery passages that we see in the Old Testament, like what are your thoughts towards like the vast majority of the major abolitionists in the abolition movement during the 19th century being led by Christians using scripture?
Well, they didn't use any scripture that says slavery's bad.
So you would just say that they were just mistaken?
Well, I would say that biblically, they were the ones that were being inaccurate because the Bible condones slavery a whole bunch and it never condemns it once. So, I mean, if you're going to use the Bible to argue slavery's bad, you can't do it with actual passages that say slavery is bad because there's not any. You have to pull different stuff that's like love your neighbor as yourself. You can pull stuff like that and say it's wrong. But then again, you can't pull a verse that says that actually forbids slavery.
Okay. Because I think there are passages, I think like you and I's very notion, our modernist notion of being against slavery is a Christian fundamental. Because you don't really see this in non-Christianized countries outside of like being affected by other Western countries. Like, I'm not sure if you're aware, in the Middle East and Muslim nations, they had slavery far after Western nations had abolished it. And it wasn't outside of Western pressure that they ended up getting rid of like that. Now they obviously still have slavery, but it's not as apparent and obvious as it used to be. Like you won't, if you see a leader from some Middle Eastern nation, particularly Islamic Republic, you're not going to see them have their slaves on camera with them or something like that. Whereas, like say we had newscasts 100 years ago, you would have seen this. You had film 100 years ago, but again, it's not the same as today, where leaders have interviews in their palaces, offices, whatever the case may be, on routine basis, and we can live stream elsewhere. So I guess what my point was is I think that these folks did use scripture, and the first thing is going to be the doctrine of the Imago Dei, which is that we're made in the image of God, which gives humans distinct value, intrinsic value that cannot be stomped out or dehumanized by other humans. It's given from God. It's beyond the reach of man. So would you say that doesn't contribute to the abolition movement, to this mindset we have?
I'm saying it can. You can apply that to it, yeah. But I mean, I can just read verses that say the opposite of that.
Well, the verses that you're going to read in like the Old Testament, I don't think that, I'm a Christian. I don't think that God's ideal was everything that we see in ancient Israel. I think Jesus is the revelation that we were given, God coming in the flesh, to truly reveal what God's intentions and purposes are in the clearest manner he could, in person.
Well, he reveals those all through the Old Testament himself. So for the New Testament to come along and say he actually meant this is kind of weird when God explains himself perfectly all through the Old Testament, in my opinion.
I don't think that they're incompatible. I think it's just more clear in the New
Oh, they
Testament.
definitely are. There's some major fundamental differences between the Old Testament and the New. In the Old Testament, no one can die for your sins. It doesn't even work like that. In the Old Testament, all you got to do, if you want forgiveness, just ask God for forgiveness and turn from your wicked ways, and you'll have it. The New Testament says you have to have blood for forgiveness, but the Old Testament does not say that. So it's just stuff like that, the fundamental differences.
The
Like
New
in the Old
Testament
Testament,
doesn't
God,
say that, though. Like it seems like we're
yes, it
presupposing
does.
a penal
No, it says it.
substitution. So do you think like penal substitution is the atonement mechanism the New Testament espouses?
Wait, what?
Do you think that penal substitution is the atonement mechanism that the New Testament espouses?
Penal substitution?
Correct. Like a punishment substitution. So essentially,
No,
Jesus had to take.
they're
Okay.
not the same. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Well,
Jesus just said you have to keep the law. That's the same thing God said in the Old Testament. So they are compatible there. But the problem is Jesus changed the laws and made them even worse, which God strictly said not to do in the Old Testament. So I mean, it's a big tangled web.
But did he really change them, or did he clarify
Yeah, he made them about thought crimes and stuff.
So, thought crimes, for example, do you think that if a man were to lust after a woman in the Old Testament, that was okay? You think God was pleased with that?
If you lusted after a woman?
Yeah. So you're looking at a woman who's not your wife, and you're lusting after them. Is that something that would please God in the Old Testament?
Well, it says don't covet your neighbor's wife, but that's not, it doesn't,
Right.
there's nothing about thought crimes in the Old Testament, though.
Well, that would be coveting. You could consider that a thought crime. That would be a jealousy is a thought. It's an idea. Like, would we say, oh, well, he didn't act upon his jealousy?
Well, it says don't covet your neighbor's slave, too.
Exactly. That would be a mental state. Coveting, jealousness. That's a mental state,
Yeah,
not
in
a
Hebrews
physical action.
9:22 it says, "Without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness of sins."
So that's you said that's Ephesians 9:22.
Hebrews 9:22.
Oh, okay. Well, so as
Ephesians
far as
1:7 it says, "In Him we have redemption through His blood, the forgiveness of our trespasses, according to the riches of His grace."
yes, and you have in 1 Corinthians 15, Christ died for
Yeah,
our
so that's
sins,
absurd.
according to
Like
Scripture. Right.
God clearly says in the Old Testament, He forgives people all through it. You don't need blood for forgiveness. That's absurd.
But why is it we're equating the blood for forgiveness? That's the penal substitution thing. That's why I brought that up.
Well, you'd have to ask Paul about that. I guess he didn't read the Old Testament when God clearly says, if you want forgiveness, just pray, seek my face, turn from your wicked ways, and you'll have forgiveness.
So what I'm saying is I think, and this is actually a very common misunderstanding in Western Christianity. We in the West have this view that penal substitution essentially, and if you're not familiar with it, I'll briefly lay it out. Maybe because you were formerly a Christian, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So have you ever heard the notion that what Christ did on the cross to atone for our sin was he took the punishment from us and took the wrath of the Father?
Yeah, that's what happened according to Paul, yeah.
Okay. That is not what the first 1,200 years of Christianity thought. That is a very modern sense of the atonement. And initially,
the first...
That's not what Paul says. Paul does not say Christ took the wrath of the Father. Show me a verse where Christ says Paul says
the law is abolished verbatim.
What does that have to do with Christ taking the wrath of the Father?
Christ didn't take the wrath of the Father. Jesus himself only taught that to get to God, you have to keep the law, keep the commandments. Paul came along and said the law is abolished. Jesus said you have to keep the law to get to heaven. Jesus never once says, when I die, the law is going away. Jesus never preached grace.
Okay.
That's Paul, a guy who never even met Jesus.
Okay, so then you and I agree then the Christ did not, the Bible, the New Testament does not teach that the Son had to take a punishment from the Father in our stead.
Yeah, it does teach that, but Jesus doesn't. I'm saying it's in the New Testament, but it's not Jesus. I'm saying that's Paul and not Jesus. Jesus didn't teach that.
Okay. Well, I don't think either Paul nor Jesus taught that. I think you could say, because that's, the first 1,200 years of the church never thought that. You don't get that until you get a very legalistic approach to Christianity from
Well, there's no
Anselm.
one thing that Christians thought at any point in time. Christians have always been vehemently opposed to what other Christians think. There's never been like one Christian doctrine. Not even 50, 100 years after Jesus, there was already tons of different sects of Christianity with very different beliefs on what happened to Jesus.
Well, there are some that are pretty much agreed upon without, like, the exception of some outliers. I mean, we can't.
Yeah, so Paul says in Romans chapter 5, he says, therefore, just as sin came into the world through one man, and death came through sin, and so death spread to all because all have sinned. For sin was indeed in the world before the law, but sin is not reckoned when there is no law. Yet death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over those who did not sin in the likeness of Adam, who was a pattern of the one who was to come. But the free gift is not like the trespass, for many have died through one man's trespass. Much more surely have the grace of God and the gift and the grace of one man, Jesus Christ, abounded for the many. So it's literally saying Jesus died for everybody's sins.
Jesus dying for everyone's sins is not the same as Jesus taking the punishment from the Father.
What is the point? What is it saying then?
So what it's saying is that Jesus died. He may have been a sacrifice, you could say, but that was more so he accomplished something we could not. It had nothing to do with him taking the punishment of the Father. So I would take the older view of the atonement, which is what the earlier church thought. I could also go for like a Christus Victor theory, which is essentially that Christ defeated death. And so without taking...
So what does that mean? Like, what changed in your mind when Jesus died?
Right. So without taking 30 minutes to go through the whole thing, I'll try to summarize it briefly. Essentially what happens is Jesus goes to, he takes on the flesh, gets killed, and then from that, I'm sorry, I can't say that on TikTok, unalived, and then from that point, he goes to Sheol, right? But he is blameless. He is sinless, a blameless person going into Sheol. And so now he is able to free
What do you
the
mean by
captive,
Sheol?
the dead.
So he just dies, right?
So you could say, because the Old Testament doesn't really have super detailed information on hell or heaven. Some people would like to say it's not in there at all. Even if that's the case, like I said earlier, Jesus was the full revelation of God in person, so perhaps it was just not prudent to talk about that in the Old Testament. So Jesus goes to Sheol, which would be the realm of the dead. You could say this is hell or some other form of the realm of the dead. Either way, where everyone went pre-Christ after their physical death. This is where
So you think Jesus died and then went to hell, right?
Correct. That's what it says in Scripture.
Well, why would he tell the guy who died with him that today you'll be with me in paradise?
Because he was right. He's just got to go defeat death. Now, again, when you're dead,
right?
Perhaps.
And so today you will be with me in paradise. So that suggests that the day Jesus died, he went to paradise, not to hell.
So it also says that Jesus went to Hades.
Oh, sounds like a contradiction.
So is it a contradiction? This is where we have to look at the text.
Did he go to heaven or hell? Which one was it?
Well, he had to go do the atonement first. He had to do his task, right? The will of the Father.
So he went to one and then the other, right?
So correct. Correct.
All right. Good enough.
What I'm saying is, we don't have to read this in the most cynical view. We can try to be charitable when we read it to try to understand, because you have to think, like you just mentioned, that seems to be a contradiction. It does, right? If we read it with a wooden literal sense. But then we also have to think that these gospel authors willingly wrote down an obviously incompatible explanation for what's happened here. And then they just left it there for however many thousands of years. Since whatever, I don't know what your view of the dating of the Gospels is. I take the early dating, you probably don't. But even if that's the case, let's say just under 2,000 years, and nobody made any changes beforehand, councils never changed anything, they just were okay with this, right? So that's why I say we should take things charitably. Anyways, so the point of Jesus being crucified and dying for our sins, what does that mean? He's going to Sheol, freeing those captive. Like if you see that verse in Matthew, where all the priests, the well-known Jewish folk, are coming out from the grave, Like, what are you talking about, Matthew? Like, these people are zombies coming out of the grave? What do you mean? I think what that's actually trying to portray is that Jesus is freeing the captives from Sheol. And those captives would be like the patriarch Abraham, people like that. And that's why they say you'll recognize them. And that's like a strange way of him relaying that truth. And so I think that what's happened is Jesus has now defeated death, given us this bridge we call grace, to have the opportunity to spend communion, to fully commune with God, if we so choose to, but we have to do so through willing submission to Christ. So the deed that Christ did was building that bridge, defeating death, and then building the bridge to the Father. That's what happened. Not that Christ, the Father, put his wrath on Jesus, and I don't even want to say, but there's all sorts of strange things.
That's kind of what Jesus says, unfortunately. He begs God to remove this burden from him, this cup of wrath that he's about to make him drink from. You know that, right?
Well, he also has the disciples drink from that cup too. So
Yeah.
the disciples, did they not need atonement, but everyone else did?
No, I don't think. Again, like to me, the New Testament doesn't line up with the Old Testament. I don't even think whoever wrote the New Testament had a clue what was actually going on in the Old Testament. It's almost clear if you know the Old Testament pretty well.
I mean,
but either way, Jesus never preached grace. That's my point. Jesus never once says, "When I die, all of y'all all are forgiven." Like Paul is the one who came up with that, not Jesus. Jesus says you have to keep the law, or you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. Jesus says you enter heaven by keeping the law, not by his death. Don't have anything to do with it.
So that's not the case, because Paul says in Ephesians 2:8-9, "For it is by grace."
I know Paul says it. Jesus doesn't say it.
Oh, I thought you
just
said
show me anywhere
Paul.
Jesus says. Show me anywhere that Jesus himself
I am the
says
way,
you're
the
saved
truth,
by
and the
grace.
life. No one gets to the Father except through me.
So where does that say
have to do with
grace?
the law? Jesus is the grace.
All right, well, here, let me read what Jesus himself says about it. He says, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. Therefore, whoever breaks one of the least of these commands and teaches others to do the same will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven."
Right. So is that not compatible with what Jesus says? That's not in John, but he says in John, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." What does that mean?
I'm saying his message. He's telling people the true message of God, and that's to keep the commands, because apparently everybody forgot this. Like, he spends all these gospels correcting people. He chastises the Pharisees for keeping their traditions over the law of Moses and not putting their disobedient children to unalivement. He's really mad about
Is that what he says? Is that what he says?
That's exactly what he says.
Show me the verse where Jesus says, "I'm upset that you haven't put your children to unalivement."
Then the Pharisees and scribes came to Jesus from Jerusalem and said, "Why do your disciples break the tradition of the elders? For they do not wash their hands before they eat." He answered them, "And why do you break the commandment of God for the sake of your tradition? For God said, 'Honor your mother and your father.' And whoever speaks evil of mother and father shall surely die. But you say whoever tells mother or father, whatever support you might have from me is given to God. Then that person need not honor the father, So for the sake of your tradition, you nullify the word of God, you hypocrites. Isaiah prophesied rightly to you when he says." So he's like literally telling them, you're keeping your own tradition and not putting disobedient children to unalivement. He brings that up specifically.
That's
Mark
not
chapter 7 too.
That's not what he's saying.
You heard me read it, didn't you?
Yes, but you're using the most cynical interpretation you can possibly say when we read.
It says, "Honor your mother and your father. Whoever speaks evil of mother and father must surely die." He's quoting the law.
Adults have mothers and fathers?
Huh?
Do adults have mothers and fathers?
Yeah. I didn't say a child meant someone who's 5. I'm just talking about your children.
You specifically said children, and you were inciting
people's children. That doesn't mean a child. It means your children.
No, now you're switching directions here. Okay.
No, we're not.
Why did you say children specifically?
Whoever speaks evil of mother and father shall surely die. If you're talking about your mother and your father, you are their child.
Yeah. So
They're children.
it sounded to me like you were insinuating children like minor. That's
It is children. That's talking about the same thing. It's the same difference. You can put it
well,
either
no,
way. It
because
doesn't
you
matter.
can have
It doesn't
adult
specify.
children. You can have adult children.
No.
What my point was.
In Exodus 21, it said one of the laws God gives is whoever curses mother and father shall be put to unalignment. Whoever strikes mother and father shall be put to unalignment. So this is talking about the children of mothers and fathers. Whether they're actual children or they're adults, they are still someone's children.
Hold
it
on
doesn't differentiate from age.
Give me a brief moment. I'm going to have to tell this customer for like 15 seconds. I got to tell them how to do this thing. Give me 15 seconds.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You're good. And it is cynical. Of course, I'm using the most cynical one. That's the whole point. Because there's cynical stuff to be used. Anyway, let me pull up Mark 7 here. Dang it, my computer's running slow all of a sudden.
Okay, sorry about that.
Sorry.
Right, so we were talking about the passage where Jesus was mad at the Pharisees for not honoring their mother and father, and them. You think he's saying that they need to be stoned to death, right?
That is what he's saying.
So I'm not sure that Jesus is actually commanding the parents to do that. And forgive me earlier if I misunderstood you. I thought you were specifically focusing on minors. But I mean
that too, but not specifically, no.
Okay, so because Jesus also says to leave your parents, basically to not, I don't remember if he uses the term hate, but to basically leave your family for me, right? Which could be considered
hate, yeah.
And so what's the purpose in him saying
that? He's a narcissist. He's putting himself above everybody else. He's saying you have to love me more than anybody and anything because I'm Jesus, and you have to do that.
In the Old Testament, what is the one thing that comes before family?
It's supposed to be God. God's
Right.
supposed to come before everything. Yeah.
Right. So that means Jesus, that's a claim to divinity from Jesus.
Sure, maybe, yeah. He was clearly not divine. He wasn't even a prophet, though, in my opinion. Like in Mark 7, this is what he says in Mark 7. He says, you abandon the commandment of God and hold to human tradition. Then he said to them, you have a fine way of rejecting the commandment of God in order to keep your tradition. Exclamation point. He's yelling at them. It says, for Moses said, honor your father and your mother, and whoever speaks evil of father and mother must surely unalive. But you say that if anyone tells father and mother, whatever support you might have from me is korban, that is, an offering to God. Then you no longer permit them to do anything for a father or mother, thus nullifying the word of God through your tradition. So he's saying they're keeping their tradition and not God's. They're keeping their tradition over the law of God, more specifically, the commandments.
So you would you agree
that if you speak evil of mother and father, you have to die?
Would you? So you think that's more what it was, rather than using like religious loopholes to avoid moral obligations?
Well, he's just chastising them for not keeping the law. He's saying you're keeping your traditions over the law. And the law says if you speak evil of father and mother, you have to unalive. So clearly he's chastising them for not doing that.
So I don't think he's specifically chastising them for not unaliving their children. I think he's chastising them for using religious loopholes to avoid moral obligations. Because this is not the only time he
The
chastised.
obligation is to keep the law. Like, here, I'll read it one more time. It says, "Then he said to them, you have a fine way of rejecting the commandment of God in order to keep your tradition." So what is the commandment of God in regards to speaking evil to mother and father?
But I agree with the first part of what you said, but I don't think that Jesus is commanding his parents to execute their children when they disobey them.
He's chastising them for not doing it, because he's saying you are rejecting the commandment of God to keep your tradition, and their tradition is to not put them to unalivement if they speak evil to father and mother.
So that's not,
you're nullifying the word of God through your
that's
tradition
not
that
their
you've handed
tradition.
on, and you do many things like this. It's literally what he's saying.
These are the same people. Well, these aren't the same exact ones, but the Pharisees tried to put Jesus to death when he was preaching in Nazareth. So putting people to death.
Yeah, because they were the actual scholars of the law back then. They knew the law better than Jesus did, because Jesus clearly didn't know the law. He came in changing it and making it even worse. So the Pharisees knew better than Jesus.
If they knew better than Jesus, then why did they get upset with Jesus? Why didn't they just correct him?
They knew he was doing it wrong. That's why they were trying to get rid of him, because they knew he was
why didn't they correct him then?
Well, they did, but
Why
he
did they
goofed
try
his
to
way
ask
out
him
of it
trick
most of the time. Like in Luke chapter 20, they asked him what authority he's coming by, and his ultimate answer was, "I'm not telling." Then he leaves.
So the first question I asked you, and then I'll answer that piece. Why didn't they correct him? Why did they try to ask him trick questions?
Because he left. It says he said no and walked off. He said, "I'm not answering you," then, and leaves.
So why did they, when they asked him about, like, how do you pay taxes? Like, they asked a question about taxes, and then Jesus' famous answer, pay unto Caesar what's Caesar, pay unto God what's God's. Why were they trying to ask him a trick question if they knew the law?
Because they were trying to show everybody that he was, in fact, not doing it right.
So what did he not do right by that answer? Why did they ask him a question?
He was changing the law. He was goofing his way out of it. He was a witty guy, according to the Gospels. He was wittily coming up with answers that didn't actually address what they were saying. He was weaseling his way out of it all.
He actually answered them directly.
No, he didn't. It says he didn't.
For the what I just gave you? What was here?
I don't know about that one, but I'm talking about these examples.
All right, so you said
the authority of Jesus is questioned in Luke chapter 20, right? And his ultimate answer is in verse 8. It says, Jesus says to them, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I am doing these things." He said, "I'm not telling."
So at that point in Luke 8, he says that, or in Luke 20?
That's in Luke 20, where they questioned his authority. They said, "What authority you're coming and saying all this stuff?" And his ultimate answer is, "I'm not telling."
So
Very
I always
profound.
correct. Well, yes and no. So what?
Oh, sarcasm, yeah.
What I'm saying here is, I cut the sarcasm, but I think it's somewhat profound. But I get what you were saying.
What's profound about saying "I'm not telling"?
But Jesus does reveal what his like. So if we're just going to take one of the synoptics or one of the gospels alone, we may have some questions that need to be answered. But if we take all four of them and we see undesigned coincidences, like when Jesus does answer, when they pin him down and they ask, there's multiple instances, especially at the end of the Gospel of John. Jesus does state the authority that he has. He says it comes from the Father in heaven.
He does sometimes, just not. He didn't do it when he should have with certain people.
Well, why should he have then? Like, why should he have then?
Because if he actually had an answer, he should have answered them.
But what if it would be better for him to not
answering other people? Why did he tell them to screw off? It's probably because they knew better. Like Jesus even says, "Blessed is the Lord for revealing to himself to those who are like children and not to the wise and learned." He's like, Jesus is noticing that the wise and the learned people don't seem to be getting his message, but the ignorant children do. Like, this isn't the profound thing I think people think it is.
So I just don't understand why they were so threatened by him, that they felt the need to have him crucified. Like, what was he doing?
Well, he flipped tables and stuff over in the temple.
So do you think But why did he do that?
Because he thought they were making a mockery of it. But they were
And
just
were they
doing what they
wrong?
had already been doing for quite a long time.
Does that make it not a mockery?
It was tradition.
It just seems to like it's not tradition to like sell sacrifices in the temple, especially to Gentiles.
Yeah, they've been doing that.
But this is not
That's
part of
just
the
another
law.
mix up of the New Testament. Like that's just another thing Paul goes against Jesus on. Like Paul says you can eat meat sacrificed to idols. Jesus says you cannot eat meat sacrificed to idols. But like that's the problem. Like if all four gospels actually came together cohesively, that would say a lot for it. But they in fact don't. They're at odds almost all the time. Like there's very, very few things that all the gospels agree on. And like in general, they agree that Jesus was crucified and rose again on the third day, but that's about it. They don't even agree when it happened. They don't agree how it happened. They don't agree what his last words were. They don't agree with what he did up until that point. Like none of it actually makes any real sense.
Well, that's like what we would expect. Although I think you're being a little uncharitable there. But let's say that's the case, right? Let's take it your word, right? That's what we would expect from different accounts, especially historical
Well, as a
eyewitness.
Christian, I expected to be what I was told it was. There was no problems, no contradictions. It all lined up perfectly with itself, and that's clearly absurd
Yeah,
because
but
it clearly doesn't.
wouldn't that just be the fault of your pastor or teacher as opposed to like the truth of
No, it's the
Christianity?
fault of the Gospels. They don't line up with each other. They can't support each other. They're at odds. They can't all be right. And if you can't trust them, there's no reason to trust them. Like, I mean, what are you going to do? Prioritize
So,
one over the others and say this one's the right one and all the other ones are wrong? Like, it don't
well,
make sense.
let's give an example of like something that obviously they can't all be true. Like the story of the women at the tomb, right? Is there one
Right.
or two angels, right? There can't be one and two. There has to be.
Depends. There's no angels in Mark. It just says a young man in white.
That's probably any commentary you read on that's going to refer to some form of angelic figure.
It
So
doesn't say that though. It says a young man in white.
but again, we're forcing this wooden literal interpretation. What is a young man in white? Like when you read in
It's a
Revelation,
young
when
man that's wearing
people in
white. If it meant an angel, that's a lot different than saying a young man. There's young men that wear white.
Okay. Again, we'll go with the least charitable interpretation that you're giving, right? If we can't decide which of those is true, right? I don't know which one is which, right? Why does this make the story of the resurrection false?
Because there's no reason to think it's true. They can't get their own story straight, and they're
There's
completely
no
making
reason.
this stuff up. I mean,
There's
I'm
no
telling you,
reason.
man, there is. They're making stuff up about Jesus, and it's painfully obvious if you just like actually read it.
So there's no reason for it to think to be. So all these people in first century Palestine are just willingly giving themselves up to persecution because they're crazy.
Never happened. There's no. Where'd you get that from?
There's no persecution in ancient Rome of Christians after Christ. That
For
didn't
being
happen.
Christians?
Yes, refusing to say
Not
Kaiser
just for being
Kyrios.
Christians, no. Huh?
So there were Christians who were questioned by Roman soldiers and Roman powers. If they didn't say Kaiser Kyrios, they would be put to death.
Okay, so why should I believe that when they're clearly lying about a bunch of stuff? How do you know
Well,
when
we
they're
have
telling
Roman
something
records
true
saying
and
this.
something false?
We have Roman records saying this. We have records from Tacitus, from Pliny the Younger, talking about them questioning Christians for being Christians. Pliny the Younger,
Neither one of those
the
was in
letter.
the first century.
Well, Tacitus was alive, I think, in the first century. He didn't write in the first century, but regardless, they have access
He
to
was
Roman
writing in like
records.
110 or 120.
I just said he
He was
wasn't
just
writing.
recording stuff he heard. Like he says, Vespasian healed a blind man by rubbing spit in his eyes through the power of Serapis. He was reporting stuff that he heard.
Well,
Not stuff
I'm
that
not
he
even
knew was
talking about
true.
miraculous. I'm not even talking about miraculous stuff here. I'm simply talking about accounts of Christian persecution. So these guys would have access to all of the Roman libraries, the documents that they would have, their records, in order to learn about this stuff. You don't think that, like Tacitus especially, he is the most like important source we have from Roman history at that time. I don't think really. I think Tacitus is a very prominent figure for us today. We use Tacitus he gives us a lot of information about ancient Rome. So it's weird that we would take all of his information about ancient Rome except for that. And then, of course, people doubt the Jesus.
He barely mentions Jesus, and like I said, he's not
I'm
reporting
talking about
things he
Christians, not
knows.
Jesus.
He's reporting things he's heard.
So why would he be hearing these things?
Because people were talking about those things. Not to mention, Tacitus doesn't even mention Christians. He mentions Christians. There's a difference there.
He's talking about Christians.
Christians. That was a different group of people.
No, you're talking about that other figure at the time.
Talking about Christians. He writes the word Christians with an E, not an I. There's even a correction off to the side.
Okay.
Or not a correction, a side note.
You give me a second here.
But when it comes to Jesus, the main reason that I know they're lying about all the miraculous stuff is because they're making up prophecies about Jesus. They're completely lying about these prophecies. So I have no reason to believe the Gospels when they say Jesus did a miracle when they can't even get the prophecies properly, and that was available to read.
Hold on a second here. Let's go back to Tacitus really quickly. So you're saying that you don't think, because, like, for example, his most famous quote that people read, let me read it to you in English. I don't speak Latin. The founder of this sect, the Christians, Christ, had suffered the supreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius. By order of the procurator Pontius Pilate, momentarily repressed, the fatal superstition broke out again, not only of Judea, the origins of evil, but of Rome itself. This is in Annals, book 15, and I forget what the next number is called, but for 44. So it's Annals 1544. Okay, now
how come Tacitus wasn't a Christian then?
That's irrelevant. Even if he was or wasn't.
Not irrelevant. If he believed that actually happened, I would think he would be a Christian.
Well, this is an event that he claims happened. That doesn't mean he's convinced that this is the Son of God.
He claims a bunch of events happened. That's what I'm saying. You can't. Tacitus isn't speaking truth. He's just recording stuff he was hearing.
Okay, so how do we know what
This
to
isn't
believe
proof.
from Tacitus and what not to believe from Tacitus?
What lines up with reality? You can understand the context he's writing in, how he's writing things. He's saying he says Vespasian heals a blind man through the power of Serapis by rubbing spit in the guy's eyes.
Okay, again, how do we? What you're
Does
saying?
that prove
by
Vespasian
observing
healed the
reality.
blind man?
What we're saying is, but it shows that here's an account of this happening.
Well, if Tacitus is passing on reliable information about miracles and resurrection, then you also have to say that Vespasian also healed a blind man through the power of Serapis because Tacitus said so.
Well, what I'm saying is I wouldn't
source.
a priori disregard it because it's a supernatural claim. But what I just read here about Christ was not a supernatural claim. It says nothing about a resurrection.
Oh, well, if you're just saying Tacitus heard about Jesus, that's fine. I have no issue with it.
But what I'm saying is this was, not to mention, like, the historicity of Jesus himself is not disputed amongst any ancient historians. This is only a modern phenomena that we see. We see, like, for example, in Tacitus's
I
work.
grant you Jesus was a real person, but that doesn't make the Gospels true.
Well,
It's
we were just
clearly
talking
lying about a
earlier.
whole bunch of stuff.
Okay, well, hold on. We were just talking about earlier the persecution of Christians, right? You said there's no reason to believe that Jesus rose from the dead, that any of the resurrection stories are true. And I gave you the example of Christians willingly facing persecution for this belief.
That don't
You
mean
said that
nothing.
didn't happen. So are you?
No, I'm saying there's not good records of that happening. If he was talking about like the disciples and stuff, but either way, it doesn't speak to the truth. I mean, have you never heard of the Heaven's Gate cult? They all
Yes, I've
unalived
heard.
themselves like 50 or 60 people because they thought a spaceship was going to take them to heaven. Like that, would they just die like that if they didn't think it was true, or if it wasn't true?
They did think it was true.
I know.
That's why they
That's
did
why I'm
that.
saying just because somebody unalived for something they believe strongly doesn't mean that it's true.
No, but that is evidence to support that people believed it. And if people believe it, we have to ask the question, why?
I mean, people believe it now.
Right. What
And
do you
they
mean?
don't believe it now because they know it happened as a fact. That's why I'm saying the same is true for them. You can only make the assumption that they just believed it. That doesn't mean it actually happened.
What I'm saying is, if you have a group, and then also with the Heaven's Gate thing, that was a very small sect. Like people would, I don't know.
Okay,
I
well,
would
what
call
about
it
Jamestown? That was like 700 people.
Jamestown,
Yeah.
Jamestown, Virginia.
No, they moved to like South America or some shit.
Are you talking about Jim Jones?
Yeah, the Kool-Aid stuff. They thought he
Okay.
was a messiah.
Yes, that's correct. Right. That
Yeah.
does that. Do
Does that
people
mean
still
he was a
believe
messiah?
that? Do people still believe that?
No, they're unalive themselves.
But this dude was an obvious false prophet. Whereas with
Not to
Jesus,
them, he wasn't. They went to their unalivements thinking he
why?
was this
But
messiah, and
why?
they were all going to heaven.
Why haven't those same movements, like all those movements, are dead? Nobody's following Jim Jones. Nobody's following. I forget the what is it? Marshall Apple something for Heaven's Gate.
Well, I'm just trying to make the point. This isn't a good argument. I mean, there's Muslim martyrs, there's Buddhist martyrs, there's been all kind of people die for all kind of beliefs. That doesn't mean they're true, and it never will.
But you said there's no evidence. There's no reason to believe that this happened, and I'm giving you a reason. And what you're doing is you're comparing other non-comparable events, like something with 700 people and one
They
for Jim
are
Jones.
comparable. It's the exact same thing. It's
They're
people
not comparable because
unaliving
they're
for
dead
something
now.
they believe to be true. Yeah.
That those movements no longer exist, whereas Christianity does exist as the largest religion in the world.
So what?
So that's a whole lot more of an impact than some small little cult movement.
It doesn't matter. The point stands that people will unalive for stuff they believe in, and it doesn't speak to
Correct.
the truth of why they were unalive. Like, you can't get around that, no matter how many people there are. That's
But
just the ad
what you can
populum
say,
fallacy.
it's just a what?
Ad populum fallacy.
Okay. So this is not an ad populum fallacy, because what I'm saying is we have reason to investigate. You don't think that we have any reason to investigate the resurrection being such events like that? And not to mention, with these people, they went off in secret and kind of did their own thing, whereas in the case of Christianity, that was not the case. You're commanded by Christ, go and baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. This is not supposed to be a private thing. This is a public declaration for salvation.
Sure,
And so
but
they're
my
doing
point
this.
is that not only is there great reasons not to trust the Gospels, people way later saying stuff and unalive and being martyred doesn't make a difference. It's not going to
It
speak
makes
to the
no
truth of the
difference.
thing, especially when there is clear and blatant lies all through this thing.
So what are clear, blatant lies? I have only about another 6 minutes, well, 8 minutes left.
Well, the prophecies,
But
that's fine.
go
The
ahead.
prophecies. They're making up prophecies about Jesus. They're taking
Okay, so
twisting
let's
stuff out of context.
okay, let's start with the first prophecy that you think is blatantly false.
Okay, here I'll just read it. It's from Matthew chapter 2. And this says, there he made his town there he made his home in a town called Nazareth, so that what had been spoken through the prophets might be fulfilled. He will be called a Nazarene. So where's Matthew getting these prophets giving a prophecy about somebody being called a Nazarene?
Well, there's a prophet about the Messiah coming from Bethlehem. But let's see.
No, where's this one at? Where's this one that Matthew's quoting?
I'm not a
We know where that one
messianic.
is.
I'm not a messianic prophecy expert, so you'll have to enlighten
I'll give
me.
you a hint. It's not in there. It doesn't exist. He made it up.
Okay, so let's go to the verse, Matthew 2, which was what was the verse again?
Verse 23. Then after that, we'll do the Bethlehem one.
Okay. All right, so verse 23. I'll read the. Oh, I prefer must be. Let's see. Okay, so in verse 23, and came and settled in the city Nazareth. That this happened, so that was spoken through the prophets. It will be fulfilled. He will be called a Nazarene. All right, so.
So
You said
what
that-
prophecy is being fulfilled about somebody being called a Nazarene?
Let's see here. Is this like the most, and like, because I was expecting you to try to bring up like one of the more prominent ones, like even maybe the Zechariah
We
riding
can
on a
get to
donkey,
those, but I would like to
Isaiah
bring up one that's not
53.
even there because that's clearly a lie. If he's saying Jesus fulfilled the prophecies, that's not even in the Bible. I actually love Isaiah 53, but if you only got a few minutes, it'll take way longer to sort out.
Yeah, I wish you would go live later, man. I only have a spare
Yeah, sorry.
time to go live, but no, you do what you got to do. But anyways, so the typical, I guess I don't have notes on this one. I usually try to take notes on any sort of discussions.
Like I said, it's not in there. I'll save you the trouble. It's completely made up. There's no prophecy about anybody being called a Nazarene. Don't exist.
There's Isaiah 11:1. That's going to talk about the roots of Jesse, the same consonants. It says that Nestor, with only the consonants of Nestor, would have appeared NZR, the same consonants as Nazareth. So we could say
the guy couldn't even read Isaiah right.
So I could grant you that Matthew was mistaken here.
Yeah.
This seems like a very insignificant prophecy. Let's try to address a bigger one in my short time.
It's not. It's a non-existent prophecy. That was my point.
Well, I just granted that to you. I said let's try
right. But if he's making mistakes or making things up out of thin air, there's already problems here. You see what I'm saying? The trust bar is being lowered a whole lot if he's making mistakes.
I get what you're saying. Let's talk about what happens. This is more so. I can't remember which gospel this is in, but the Psalm 22 prophecy.
Oh gosh, that's not a prophecy, man.
Right. So I understand.
That's a lament of David.
Right. But what about the other part where it says they're going to tear his garment and divide it amongst them? That happens. At least it's claimed to happen in the Gospels.
It happens to David.
It specifically happens.
It says
though,
they divide my
to
clothes
David or
among
not, that's
themselves,
okay.
and for my clothing they cast lots. Who's the my there in Psalm 22?
So I'm pulling up Psalm 22.
Yeah, it's a lament of David, a psalm of David. It's a song of David. This is not a prophecy. This is David talking to God, not God talking through David to give information. That's what a prophecy is. It's when God puts his words in the mouth of a prophet.
So when it says they divide my garments among them and they cast my lots for clothing, right? That's specifically laid out in I don't think it's the Gospel of John. I forget which gospel it is, but that happened to Jesus, right? Now you're saying this is what happened to David.
That's what I'm saying. They're making stuff up. They're cherry picking lines from places like this and call it prophecy about Jesus. But that's why I was asking that question. It says they divide my clothes among themselves. For my clothing, they cast lots. Who is the my there? Who's talking?
So David is the psalmist here.
Exactly. So David's saying these are my clothes they're casting lots for. Not they're going to cast lots for a Messiah's clothes later.
But this whole passage, so the problem is if we now, and I've talked to Kip Davis about this. He thinks that the big verse here, they pierced my hands and feet. He thinks that verse is corrupted. It's a corrupted text, like the passage we have in the. But we don't have actual evidence, like a prior manuscript to show that this was twisted of some sort. We're missing that, so we don't know. So word.
They don't know what the word was there, but contextually, there's no reason to think it was the word dakar, which means pierced, which doesn't show up in a single Hebrew manuscript ever.
Well, we don't have one that says lion either. They just assume it's the word lion.
But it's based on the context of what he's doing in the whole thing here. It's like in verse 12, it says, many bulls encircle me, strong bulls of Bashan surround me. They open their mouths wide at me like a warring lion. Dogs encircle me. Like he's literally giving a whole bunch of animals here. So it only makes contextual sense that he's talking about a lion like that, like a lion at my hands and my feet. Like this is all present tense stuff. This is being written as something that's happening right then. Huh?
Do lions attack people's hands and feet?
No, he's saying like a lion, they were at my hands and my feet.
That's not like a lion. Lions attack the neck. not feet.
He's not saying a literal lion is attacking me. It's like, do bulls encircle people?
Well, yeah, actually, if you watch like any sort of what are those Spanish things called, where the bull will sometimes circle the or try to get in a circle motion and then charge at them. That can
Says
happen.
bulls encircle me, dogs are all around me, a company of evildoers encircles me. This says they bound my hands and my feet.
So
I can count all my
what are you
bones.
reading? NRSV?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, here, let's make it really easy. Let's just start at the very top here.
The
It says,
lions banned my hands and feet?
no, like a lion at my hands and my feet.
Right. That's what the passage says, right? It says a band of
Yeah,
evildoers.
he's comparing the
encompass me,
enemies to
and then it's
animals
going to
all
say,
through this chapter.
but what
here.
I'm saying is lions. So if a lion is going to bite you, right, bite your hands, your feet, it's going to pierce your hands and feet with its teeth. So it's kind of funny because the point still kind of drives. This is
no, that's completely added in there.
I mean, what
He's
would a
comparing
lion?
the enemies to animals like lions. He's not saying an actual lion is going to bite my hands and my feet. It says like a lion. He's not saying a lion is at my hands and my feet. That's not what he's talking about.
So what? But that passage, it makes less sense with the lion translation than it does with just saying
it makes
they
the most
pierced my hands
sense
and feet.
because that's what he's doing all through this. From horns of the wild oxen, you have rescued me. Like, he's literally naming all kinds of different animals here. So when a lion pops up, it just makes perfect contextual sense.
Hold on, let me pull up.
That's
the
why,
NRSV.
like, pretty much every Jewish person that I know of, anyway, says this is absolutely
Yes, they obviously
talking
reject.
about a lion at my hands and my feet.
They reject Christ, so they're going to say that.
Christ don't have nothing to do with it. It's not about. You want to talk to? We got an actual rabbi here.
I wish you'd
He's
have
a
told me
Hebrew
that
speaker.
at least 10 minutes ago. I have like 30
Let's do that
seconds.
really, really quick. Ka'uri, yeah, that's the word there. Like a lion.
All right, so in the NRSV.
She's here. Let her tell you that real quick.
All right, go ahead,
Please,
Rabbi.
Rabbi.
I got like 30 seconds.
So ka'uri means like a lion. I know that what happened is when the letters were being translated, they took the nun and they added a length to it that turned it into like
A
what
vav.
they believed was pierced. Yes, but it's not that. The word in Hebrew is ka'uri, like a lion.
Okay, so let me see if I can understand this properly. So
Of
that
course.
I'm reading the NRSV, so I can be in the same scripture as you guys.
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm in the Hebrew, but
Okay, well,
that's fine.
I'm here with. I don't speak Hebrew, so forgive me.
No, it's okay.
All right, so it says starting at 16, for dogs are all around me. A company of evildoers encircles me. And then in the NRSV, it says, my hands and feet have shriveled.
Yes, I know it does.
Okay,
But that's not what the Hebrew says.
What does the Hebrew say?
The Hebrew says, the kisavan kiblam adat merim yikfuni ka'ari yadeveg regle, which means for dogs are all around me, a company of evildoers encircle me, like a lion are my hands and feet. Like a lion's mouth are my hands and feet. Literally, that's what it says. Kari, yade, feet, regle. Like a lion, my hands and my feet.
Okay, so do you take the position that Kip Davis does? Do you think this text is corrupted?
Corrupted?
Or something wrong? Because that, like a lion, my hands and feet.
Well, I will say it's missing a verb. Grammatically, it misses a verb there. So I will say that. I don't know about corrupted. I will say something like, I believe what they're trying to say is like, it's like a lion is at my hands and feet, or like a lion, they maul at my hands and feet. But the literal text just says, like a lion, my hands and my feet. So I'm not sure why the NRSV translates it as what my hands and feet have shriveled. I think they're trying to figure out the verb, the missing verb that's there. Now I know that the Septuagint translates it into they dug Dug. Yeah, they dug my hands and my feet.
Yes.
And then because it was dug, then that turned somehow into pierced, even though excavated and pierced are not the same thing. But really, it is David just asking, why is God forsaken me? Now, I know that in Christian traditions, Psalms 22 becomes heavily like messianic and is linked to that kind of crucifixion imagery. But there is a difference between like a lion at my hands and feet and they pierced my hands and feet.
No, I understand. I have a 12:30 call, so I have to hop here. I wish you came on like 10 minutes earlier. So
I was helping someone else with Hebrew like
no, you're fine.
5 minutes ago.
You're fine. Anyways, I've already followed Apostate Ape here, so I'll be back, and hopefully you'll be there, and we can continue this.
I'm here whenever I'm up in the morning early enough, and I'm not in a meeting. I'm generally here.
Okay, sounds good. Alrighty, you guys take care. I'll see you.
Yeah, have a good one there, buddy.
You too.
Yeah, thank you, Rabbi.
I'll have to ask Kip about that. I didn't know Kip thought so. I'll have to ask him what makes him think that it's corrupted versus like because I get it in the way the verb is missing.
Well,
there
I think
is
he
no
means
verb.
Christian corrupted there is what I think he's actually saying. But
oh,
he's saying the Christians corrupted it, yeah.
I'll ask him that. Hold on, I'll have to message him and say, hey, I'm talking about Psalms 22 today, and somebody mentioned you. So I want to get your read on it.
Yeah, they, I guess from the scholarly perspective, like I think I've even talked to Dr. Josh about this. In the actual text, like that part of that's missing is why they say it's a corruption. I guess is because nobody
the
actually
verb
knows
is missing.
what's technically
there's no
there
verb
or whatever.
Yeah, there's no verb there to kind of give you the idea of what's happening. So I will agree with that. But so if that's what Kip means by corrupted, is that the verb is missing, so it's not clear. I will say I get that, but even when in the Septuagint it is translated into dug and pierced are not the same thing.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, the UE says they bound my hands and my feet. This is the one I'm looking at here, and I can't even remember. Dr. Josh explained to me one time how they got bound there, how that came about translationally, but now I can't even remember. But that's what I was trying to tell him. I was like, no, the lion makes perfect contextual sense, like because he's mentioning all kind of animals as enemies, like metaphorically, I guess, surrounding him and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that is the one that makes the most sense, at least in my opinion, based on the context. But
and so I've said nun, and it isn't a nun, it's a yud. But there's a huge scribal confusion that happens between the yud and the vav, and so that's how I think the difference is, because it goes from this kari to va'uri, and then doing so it changed the meaning. So karu itself means dug. They dug. The DSS spelling is unusual there, but it's not impossible. So the readings, the traditional readings that we keep it at is, of course, the like a lion at my hands and feet, which matches the, dogs surround me like a lion at my hands and feet.
Right. All these animals, these bulls, these oxes, dogs.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find my... And a lot of places will put a little subscript down at the bottom, a footnote that shows it says originally like a lion at my hands and feet.
Right. Yeah, and then there was don't be so far away. Deliver my soul from the sword, my life from the power of the dog. Save me from the mouth of the lion. Like, yeah, I mean, how much clearer do you need it to be? I mean, and I still don't get how people fall on this as a prophecy when it's David talking to God. He's asking God. He's basically saying a prayer if you're getting closest to something, not like God putting his words in the mouth of David, conveying information to Israel. It makes no sense to me.
I love when people see a Jew and so they assume that I must be pro-circumcision. It's very wild to me. You have a really nice anti-Semite in your comment section here.
Oh, yeah, there's probably a few of those motherfuckers.
Yeah, oh no, I already blocked them off my page because the first thing they said was think about who you can't talk about. And I'm like, you fucking could talk about Jews all day long. But I agree with you that circumcision is wrong. This is why I don't help perform them. I don't do brisses. I feel like that it's not something that I abide by, and so I don't participate in it. But the assumption is that because I'm a Jew, I must. And why do people listen to this lady? Probably because I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up there.
Or at least I try. I'm not perfect. There's plenty of things that even I go, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You know, circumcision does not control male urge.
What? What?
Oh, I agree with you. It's absolutely, it is unnecessary, and it does not help the health of anything. Yeah, but that's not what we're here to talk about. So
you could argue it looks a little more aesthetically pleasing if you.
I can't argue that because I'm a lesbian. None of it looks aesthetically pleasing to me.
I'm not even gay, and I'll argue it looks more aesthetically pleasing. I think.
I mean,
if I gotta look at one, like, might as well groove it up a bit. Shit.
Ew. Yeah, I was just in I was in a live helping another person, and somebody came up and they were like, how do you feel about LGBT? And I'm like, well, I'm fine. And he goes, and they said, why are you asking that? And I'm like, he's mad that I get more cat than he does. That's all. That's really what it comes down to, is they're just mad that I mean, and I'm married, so like I'm happily married for 15 years. But, you know, I find that that's generally what it is. People will come in and say, haha, you're a gay. Oh, yeah, well spotted. Like, how did you guess that? On my bio where it says I'm gay AF? Is that where you figured it out?
Yeah, I think a bit of that's the Christian projection, where like, Christians are more bound to inherit every single word. You have to do this or you're not who you're supposed to be according to the book or whatever. Like,
something like that.
You just have to do that, man.
Like seriously. It says in the Talmud that women who are gay can still marry priests because it doesn't count. What we do doesn't count, and it's hilarious to me. And I'm like, I guess you've never seen it because it definitely counts. Like,
oh goodness.
Yeah, that's what it says in the Talmud. It says that specifically Rabbi Yonah says that it since it doesn't count, that that it's just girls being girls, basically. I'm just like, you guys, wow. Y'all talked about everything, didn't you? You just couldn't stop yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, God's all right sometimes, I think.
I guess God's just like, listen, go right ahead. You have fun.
It's kind of rational somewhat sometimes.
I was listening earlier. I was in here listening to the bitter truth trying to justify slavery with Josh. God. And I was just like, I'm going to actually have to scroll away because I've heard his argument on slavery before and I can't. Not Josh. I love his argument, but I've heard bitter truth.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you're kidding. Yeah. I'm like, I can't. You guys have fun. I'll be back.
Yeah, that was rough. My goodness. Props to Dr. Josh there for sharing in the headache with that fellow.
He's so calm too. He has, like, I don't know what it is, but whatever he does to keep himself that calm, I need a piece of that. He needs to give me his regimen because
yeah.
Like, I came into a room because somebody wanted to ask me about Alma. That's what it was. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. And the minute I came up, they're like, nobody respects Hana. And I was like, I don't even know you. Like, so why do I care what you think? Like, this is the first time I've ever met you in my life. Like, the fact that you know my name and I don't know yours, that's wild.
Yeah, the calm, casual manner in which Dr. Josh dismantles believer logic is quite the amazing thing to behold.
I absolutely love it. And actually, I was in here when he was talking about Second Temple Judaism and Isaiah, and he's right. I mean, the gentleman who was talking about it is right. There is a small sect of Second Temple Judaism that believe that Isaiah 53 was about a messianic figure, not necessarily suffering servant, but it was a minority belief. In fact, I brought up notes on it in case I got back here. So it kind of goes like this. In the Dead Sea Scrolls at Qumran, there's no explicit commentary that says Isaiah 53 equals Messiah. The Great Isaiah Scroll, which is 1Q Isaiah, preserves 53 intact. Now, there are some other sectarian texts that describe a suffering or persecuted righteous figure, teacher of the righteousness. So a small community expected multiple messiahs, the priestly one and a royal one. So there are some scholars that suggest 53 may have influenced Qumran's thinking about righteous suffering, but we don't have like a direct pesher. We don't have a direct interpretation that says this is the Messiah. So it's suggestive here, but it is not conclusive. And there is a small sect of Second Temple Jews that thought that the suffering servant was supposed to be Israel and a person, a Messiah. So the problem is that pre-Christian, like Judaism, their evidence of the suffering Messiah is a messianic expectation was triumphant, like Davidic, political. The suffering, dying Messiah is not a dominant understanding of what a messianic figure is supposed to be. So Ezra, this is late 1st century, of course, speaks to a messianic figure who unalives. And First Enoch describes a pre-existent Son of Man figure who judges the nation. So it doesn't quote Isaiah 53 directly, but they show that during this time, the idea of messianism within Jewish context of Second Temple Judaism was ever evolving. But we preserve older strands in like rabbinic, post-temple rabbinic Judaism. Those older strands go back to like for 1Q Isaiah scroll, which is that it's talking about Israel as a whole, not a messianic figure. I don't know if any of that made
30
sense.
or 40 books of Isaiah in the Dead Sea Scrolls? Like there wasn't just one. There was a shitload of them.
Yeah, that's
like,
why it's
tons of
called
books.
that's why it's called the giant Isaiah, the Great Isaiah Scroll, is because of like there's a lot to it. But you know, part of it is the reason is because the servant in Isaiah itself is called Israel repeatedly. We see that in Isaiah 41:8, Ve'ata Israel Avdi, but you, Israel, are my servant. And so the kind of idea that the suffering servant is a person kind of falls away and was a minority belief to begin with during that time. I don't know if that helps. And I missed you one day. Did you take a day off?
Yeah, I had to take a sick day finally.
Oh, well, yeah. I
Sunday.
was like, wait a minute, I'm up early. Generally, he's on. And I was like, he must have finally taken a day off.
It was utter chaos and panic and confusion on when you woke up and didn't see me there, wasn't it?
It was. I was just like, is the world okay?
Like,
wait a minute, did I get raptured? Like, what happened?
What are we going to do?
You know, when that rapture thing was supposed to happen, I got raptured. So I started getting lifted up off the ground. I don't know if you know this. I told this to other people, but I started getting lifted up the ground. And then I heard a voice say, not her, she's a Jew. And then it put me back down on the ground. And so I got stuck here.
God smacked an angel that was lifting you.
It was like, not her.
Put that down. Damn Jew.
She's a
angel.
Jew. I absolutely stole that from Lewis Black. Lewis Black is one of my favorite comedians, and he talked about how he had to, he was going to have to do a set in front of the president and the vice president, and he ended up not having to because the Pope, or not the president, because the Pope at that point unalived, and so the president had to go and do that. He goes, but then the vice president showed up, and I realized it's probably because God remembered I'm a Jew.
God remembered he's a Jew. Oh, that's fucking funny. Damn it.
Oh, I just that's where I don't know if you've ever spoken to Rav Kavod, Rabbi Bert, but he and I say this thing that we both also stole from Lewis Black, where it's like it's not their fault because it's not their book. Lewis Black does this bit where he talks about it. He's like, and every Sunday they're reading from my book, and they're doing it wrong, but it's not their fault because it's not their book.
That's true. Yeah, that is good. Yeah, I like it.
That's why every time him and I are in a panel together, it's not their fault, hon. It's not their book. like that's right.
It's not their book. Oh, they didn't have a clue about it, I don't think.
Oh, it's Jesus Messiah. I like your background today.
Oh, I actually switched it from one, but let's see.
What was the other one you had?
Yeah. Damn it. How do I forget to do this so often?
It happens to me too.
Oh, no, that's the grid thingy. Oh, yes, the effects thing. I forgot. Okay, no, I remember. Where was it? Board. Man, what the crap? I just switched this earlier.
And Jake, it wasn't that Isaiah was added later. There's 3 sections to Isaiah. You have First Isaiah, Deutero Isaiah, and Trito Isaiah. And they're added, they're like, First Isaiah is kind of given over to possibly that Isaiah ben Amoz wrote that, but Deutero and Trito Isaiah are over a period of hundreds of years, and they're kind of redacted together. Oh.
Yeah, I had a lot more on this one, but it wasn't I switched it up because it was, well, now's all right, but earlier it was kind of hard to get somebody up here. But I figured, I thought it might be that.
God doesn't exist. Oh, yeah, that's cool. I think that's what Apostate Ape is trying to get at.
Oh, well, I mean, sometimes I actually hardly ever debate if God actually exists or not. I just point out that if he does exist, he's doing some unscrupulous things. Yeah. He's doing things that don't quite line up with what I thought would have to line up when I was a Christian or whatever. But guys, I have reached the end of the episode today, I'm afraid.
That is okay. You go and get yourself some rest. This is like you've taken 1 day off. I believe that you have the right to take more days off.
I gotta go to work now. But
oh my gosh. Yes, well.
I mean, I kind of sort of do get sort of tired some days, but like, I don't know. I just feel like can't give them no way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't. I feel like I have an obligation to be here almost at this point.
I feel that. That's what happens to me sometimes when people will message me and say, Rabbi, can you come help? I'm just like, what am I actually doing right now? If I'm not doing anything, then yeah, I feel kind of like, yeah, I can come and help. I had to do a cutoff though, because my wife, there was a time where somebody would message me at like midnight and then I would get up out of bed. And my wife's like, you have got to stop doing that. Like, there has got to be is this an emergency? Like, if it's not an emergency, you have office hours, babe. Like, come on. I'm like, yeah, she was right. So I had to be like, past this time, unless it's my live, then no, I can't. But I could be helpful tomorrow.
Well, I mean, it's like every stinking day somebody gets up here and says how wonderful and helpful to humanity slavery is, and fucking baby bashing to pieces. Like, I feel like I can't just be laying down when there's people running around out there proclaiming this shit.
Thinking owning another person is completely okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the bitter guy. I mean, you heard it earlier. I finally just disconnected. I said, look, just say it. Slavery's great.
Oh,
as a Christian, you think this is wonderful and it's helping everybody. And he's like, oh, yeah, totally. I was like, thank you. Now get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
Oh, my God, though. It's every day. Like, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I quote Bob Marley every now and then. And Bob Marley said, evil don't take a day off. How can I? You know what I mean? Like,
and there it is.
But yeah,
I feel
I had
that.
to. I did have to do a sick day though. There's no way I could have done a live on Sunday. I was sneezing my ass off. My nose was running uncontrollably.
Oh yeah.
It
Well,
would have
I'm
just
glad you
been.
took. I know you got to go to work, so I'm going to drop down. You have a good day at work, and thank you
Oh, no
for
biggie, no
engaging
biggie.
with me as always. Have a wonderful one.
Anytime, Rabbi. Always thank you for coming up. The Rebel Rabbi is the shit. She is that Rebel Rabbi. She can mess them up in here with the brilliant Rabbi knowledge. All right, so don't forget, Dr. Joshua Bowen sells some awesome books you can buy. Also, don't forget, y'all saw him earlier. Also, don't forget the Rocket City Raisin Conference is going down this October 23rd, 24th, and 25th. And you can get your tickets for that at rocketcityraisin.com. You can hang out with us for 3 days there. It's going to be awesome. But don't forget, you can support Dr. Josh and his amazing family and learn some brilliant fucking knowledge if you purchase one of his books, and they're awesome. Guys. Oh, thank you. Yes, Jerry was pretty good there. Oh, yeah, that's rough. Anyway, guys, we will catch y'all back tomorrow. So this was episode, we'll call it episodes now. Episode 102, even though there's more than that. This is episode 102 in the books. I also have a YouTube channel. If y'all don't care, throw me some support over there and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. It's also Apostate Day. I put these replays on there every day. So, guys, thanks again. Much love. And I appreciate the shit out of everybody. Have a good one, y'all. Y'all all be good. I hope all y'all have a good day. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.